Chapter 1039. The floating mountain floated in the sky above the Yorwild's continent. It was hidden in the depths of the clouds. In truth, anyone who could fly at such a height. However, the floating mountain was extremely strange. No one, not even a quasi-saint, could approach it, not even the air above it. Apart from that, any attack would be neutralized before it could even reach the floating mountain. In other words, the floating mountain couldn't be approached or attacked. Countless experts had gathered outside the floating mountain, surrounding it. Some were simply here to watch the show, while others wanted to take over the floating mountain sect and take it for themselves. However, all they could do was stare blankly at the floating mountain. Their attacks were neutralized, and they couldn't approach it. Although the floating mountain was right in front of them, it didn't seem to exist in this space. They were at their wits' end. No one could do anything to the floating mountain. Even the Fan family's people had fallen. Meanwhile, on the floating mountain, the Fan family's disciples were all on high alert as they watched the people around them. Those who were stronger and had a deeper understanding of the floating mountain sneered. "Don't worry about those scoundrels outside. Go ahead and cultivate. They want to take the floating mountain with just them? What a joke," a celestial exalt said coolly. "Senior, are the family head and the others as the rumors say?" someone asked. The celestial exalt glared at him and sneered. "The family head and his wife are both 10th level quasi-saint, and the eldest young master is a 5th level quasi-saint. How could such powerful people die so easily? It's just a rumor. All of you better remember these people outside and remember their power. When the family head returns, we'll pay them a visit one by one. They dare have designs on the floating mountain. They really don't know how to write the word death." The Fan family didn't believe that Fangua and the others had all been killed. They believed in Fangua and the others. However, they didn't know that Fangua and his family were trapped in the true sky realm. If no one could comprehend the one character, they absolutely couldn't leave the sky realm. What was the difference between that and death? In truth, this was because the Fan clan hadn't left their soul jade slips in the hanging mountain. Otherwise, the people of the Fan family would definitely not have such thought. Dreamland, Shenzhen. Kurlan looked at Zhao Jiqing and the other two girls with a worried expression. "Sisters, is the pervert really alright? His soul jade slip is broken." After a long time, Kurlan could not help but ask. How many times had he asked? Kurlan herself didn't know. The soul jade slip shattered. It was just like when Fan Tong and the others had discovered that Fangua's soul jade slip had shattered in the floating mountain. The moment Murong Yu entered the heaven domain, his soul jade letter had already shattered. It was as if he had fallen. However, because the last time he entered the turbulent space, Murong Yu's soul jade slip had also shattered. Therefore, this time, Zhao Jiqing and the other two girls firmly believed that Murong Yu had not fallen, and that he had only entered a secret area similar to the turbulent space, or that he had entered the turbulent space again. Right now, there are rumors outside that the Fan family has all fallen, including the pervert. Kurlan's face was full of worry. Murong Yu will not fall. Although Zhao Jiqing was worried, as the eldest sister, she was still calm and collected. In fact, she couldn't help but be calm. Because Murong Yu was not here, only she was in control of the situation. Murong Yu's power clone did not shatter, which means that Murong Yu has not fallen. Otherwise, when he fell, his power clone would have already been destroyed. Yu Mengqing said in a deep voice. Before going to the demon desolate continent, Murong Yu had specially instructed Zhao Jiqing and the others not to easily believe that he had fallen. Moreover, this time, he had specially left behind a power clone. The power clone also had some of the original body's strength. Usually, it was directly controlled by the original body. Because it did not have a soul, even if the soul jade slip shattered, the power clone would not be destroyed. Only when the original body was destroyed, the power clone would be completely destroyed. However, Murong-Yu was trapped in the heaven domain and cut off from all contact with the outside world. Therefore, he could not send any information through the power clone. Turning her head to look at Murong-Yu sitting cross-legged on the ground, Kurlan's heart slightly relaxed. This power clone had a dull expression on its face as it sat there with its eyes tightly closed. Its only use was to tell them that Murong-Yu had not really fallen. In the God realm, there are many secret areas that isolate soul aura. Once you enter those secret areas, the soul jade slip will shatter. Therefore, do not easily believe others. Zhao Jiqing said indifferently. In the heaven domain, Murong-Yu had been hiding in the void where the Zh word was located for dozens of years. Not moving for dozens of years, plus the 4 mantras that he had cultivated before, Murong-Yu had finally comprehended something. After dozens of years of meditation, Murong-Yu suddenly understood the true meaning of the Zh word. It could freely control the power of his own body and that of others. A trace of enlightenment suddenly surged into his mind. At this moment, Murong-Yu had finally succeeded in comprehending the Zh word. Rumble. The moment he comprehended the Zh word, the incomparably huge stone wall that was originally engraved with the Zh word suddenly shone brightly and soared into the sky. The soaring divine light was even more dazzling than the sun's rays. The moment it exploded, the entire heaven domain was illuminated. The originally pitch-black night turned into day in an instant. Crack, crack. As the divine light soared into the sky, the huge stone wall that was originally engraved with the Zh word quickly shattered. At the same time, the words quickly fell down, then quickly pierced through the void and rushed towards Murong-Yu, who was hiding in the void. With a puff sound, the originally invisible Murong-Yu seemed to be pulled out of the void by someone. In an instant, his body was exposed in front of countless ferocious beasts at the level of quasi-saint. Murong-Yu's heart thumped fiercely as he shouted in his heart, "Oh no!" Swish! The stone wall that suddenly shone with divine light and then shattered in the end had already shocked countless ferocious beasts. When Murong-Yu appeared, they all looked over at the first moment. Tens of millions of ferocious beasts at the level of quasi-saint fixed their eyes on Murong-Yu. Their ferocious eyes seemed to want to tear Murong-Yu apart, causing Murong-Yu's heart to tremble in fear. His body seemed to be unable to withstand and was about to be torn apart. At the same time, an incomparably terrifying pressure rushed over like a stormy sea, wanting to annihilate Murong-Yu. Ferocious beasts did not have much intelligence. However, when they saw the Zh word break through the void and rush into Murong-Yu's body one by one, even if they did not have any intelligence, they knew that Murong-Yu had comprehended the Zh word. In other words, from now on, this human who was only at the peak of the heavenly king realm would control their fate. They would become Murong-Yu's slaves and be controlled by him. Of course, they were unwilling. Therefore, they immediately roared angrily. Some of the ferocious beasts even slapped out huge claws towards Murong-Yu, wanting to kill him. What's going on? When the divine light burst into the sky, everyone in Sky Domain City was startled awake. Soon, they discovered that the divine light came from the valley where the Zh word was written. Could it be that a ferocious beast has comprehended that technique? In an instant, this thought appeared in the minds of all the human and demon experts in Sky Domain City. As soon as this thought appeared, everyone's expression changed. Even if a human or demon expert had comprehended that technique, they would not be able to accept it, not to mention having their fate controlled by a ferocious beast. Immediately, countless experts rushed out of Sky Domain City and shot towards the valley. Before this, the millions of ferocious beasts that had been crazily attacking Sky Domain City also rose into the air and rushed towards the valley. At this moment, whether it was humans, demons, or ferocious beasts, they all had the same goal: to find the person who had comprehended that technique. Father, it seems that someone has comprehended that technique. What should we do? Fangua and his family did not leave Sky Domain City. Instead, they gathered together, all of their faces solemn. Our fate can only be controlled by ourselves. We will not allow anyone else to control our fate. Fan Shao said in a low voice, his killing intent soaring. Fan Gua nodded, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Are we going now? Fan Gang frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Fan Gang, Fan Tong, you two stay here. I will go with your mother and brother to take a look. Fan Gua frowned and said in a low voice. At the same time, his body flickered as he prepared to leave. However, at that moment, Morong Yu's voice sounded in their ears. Uncle, Auntie. Please stay in Sky Domain City for now. Don't go to the valley. Morong Yu. When they heard Morong Yu's voice, Fan Tong and the others frowned in surprise. Only then did they realize that despite all the commotion outside, Morong Yu had not appeared. At this point, Fan Gang finally realized what was wrong. Morong Yu was nowhere to be found. Morong Yu, what's going on? Fan Tong couldn't help but ask. However, after Morong Yu said that, there was no more sound. Could this have something to do with Morong Yu? Everyone had this thought. However, they quickly rejected the idea. Morong Yu had been cultivating in his room. Could it be that he's cultivating in seclusion to comprehend that technique? But that's impossible. The commotion is coming from the valley. Father, what about us? Stay in Sky Domain City for now. It doesn't matter if we stay in the valley or not. Fan Gua thought for a moment, then said in a low voice. Although he didn't know what Morong Yu meant, Fan Gua could vaguely sense that there was a deeper meaning behind Morong Yu's words. Chapter 1040. Morong Yu was still sitting cross-legged in the void with his previous aptitude. It wasn't that he didn't want to leave, but he couldn't leave now. It was as if there was a mysterious force sealing him in this place. Not to mention leaving, he couldn't even move. He had tried to teleport away through Hichu Luoshu, but he couldn't enter Hichu Luoshu at all. Even if he used Hichu Luoshu to forcefully collect it, it wouldn't work. In other words, Morong Yu could only sit cross-legged in the void, motionless. Rumble, countless ferocious beasts roared. Incomparably violent power erupted and crazily attacked Morong Yu. They wanted to blast him to death. Morong Yu's expression changed drastically. Facing the powerful attacks of countless quasi-saint-level ferocious beasts, Su Hao immediately took out Hichu Luoshu and the Yin-Yang Cauldron. He couldn't be bothered to take out other divine artifacts. Even Nuwa's temple didn't have them, because he couldn't activate those holy artifacts at all. Even if he took them out, they would immediately be sent flying, and they would even be snatched away. However, facing the attacks of countless quasi-saint-level ferocious beasts, even if Morong Yu took out Hichu Luoshu and the Yin-Yang Cauldron, his face was still gloomy. With his strength, even if he activated the Yin-Yang Cauldron and Hichu Luoshu to the extreme, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Any quasi-saint would kill Morong Yu with a slap, not to mention that there were tens of millions of ferocious beasts. All of them were powerful, supreme existences at the level of quasi-saint. Morong Yu sighed in his heart, feeling very helpless. He could only resign himself to fate now. If the swordsman formula doesn't protect me like the swordsman formula, I'll definitely die. Morong Yu thought helplessly. This feeling of resignation was very uncomfortable. Boom. While he was thinking about these questions, the attack of the ferocious beast that attacked first had already landed fiercely on him. Bang! When the beast's huge claws came down, Morong Yu's body suddenly burst out with a dazzling light. The divine light contained an incomparably powerful force. A powerful force was activated, directly shaking the claws of the quasi-saint-level beast. At the same time, the terrifying power of the ferocious beast was also shattered by this force. Seeing this, Morong Yu's anxious heart finally calmed down. But soon, his heart was in his throat again, and it felt like it was going to burst out of his neck. Tens of thousands of quasi-saint-level vicious beasts, and even more vicious beasts, erupted with powerful auras as they charged towards Morong Yu. At this moment, Morong Yu's face turned pale with fright. What did tens of thousands of quasi-saint level dire beasts mean? Rumble, waves of power instantly annihilated Murong Yu like raging waves. The terrifying power erupted, and a large area of the void nearby was directly annihilated. Even the spatial turbulence was broken out. After a long time, the power finally dissipated. Slowly, Murong Yu's figure was revealed. Fortunately, it's me. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have been scared to death even if they weren't killed. Murong Yu was sitting cross-legged on the spot, unscathed. His face was ashen, and he looked at the sky full of vicious beasts below with lingering fear. Tens of thousands of quasi-saint level vicious beasts attacked at the same time, and Murong Yu was really scared to death. If it was someone with a weak psychological quality, they would probably be scared to death. Roar, seeing that Murong Yu was still sitting cross-legged in the void, countless vicious beasts roared. Waves of even more terrifying power shattered the void and blasted towards Murong Yu. This time, it wasn't just tens of thousands of quasi-saint level vicious beasts. Hundreds of thousands, or even millions of vicious beasts attacked at the same time. Although Murong Yu knew that the mysterious power was incomparably strong and could protect him, he still trembled with fear. At the same time, the people of the she character formula were rushing into Murong Yu's body. As long as all the characters entered Murong Yu's body, he would be able to leave this place. It was the same as the formation character formula. While countless vicious beasts were madly attacking Murong Yu, countless experts of the human and monster race in Sky Domain City rushed to the valley. When they saw Murong Yu being killed by countless vicious beasts, they were all stunned. Then, they saw the stone wall collapsing and the ancient characters rushing into Murong Yu's body. Everyone immediately understood. Murong Yu had comprehended that cultivation technique. Everyone should be very happy with this result. Legend had it that as long as someone comprehended this cultivation technique, the Sky Domain would automatically collapse and they would be expelled from the Sky Domain. However, even if they could leave the Sky Domain, their fates and everything would be controlled by Murong Yu. This was something they didn't want to see. They would rather be trapped in the Sky Domain for the rest of their lives than let their fates be controlled by someone else. Therefore, when they realized what was going on, some of them attacked Murong Yu. Almost at the same time, those who realized what was going on unleashed their strongest attacks towards Murong Yu. They didn't even have time to hesitate. These people. Murong Yu's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. These people were all courting death. However, Murong Yu wouldn't kill them. Didn't they say that after comprehending the she character formula, he would be able to control them? Controlling everything about them was much more fun than killing them. Rumble, countless amounts of energy poured down from the sky, crazily bombarding Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu's body glowed with a divine light. The energy pouring down couldn't even get close to Murong Yu before it was neutralized. This might be the power of the she character formula. It protected the inheritor from being killed. Isn't this person from the Fan family who just entered the Sky Domain not long ago? Someone suddenly recognized Murong Yu. The Fan family? Let's kill the Fan family first. Some quasi-saints were filled with killing intent. They used their divine sense to search for Fangua and the others. However, Fangua and the others weren't there. Take Fangua and the others as hostages. Some people wanted to use Fangua and the others as hostages. If he comprehended this cultivation technique, he would be able to control the entire Sky Domain. Once he controls us, it would be useless even if we took Fangua. Someone said in a low voice. Then what should we do? Kill Fangua and the others. Then kill this person. He can't be allowed to comprehend this cultivation technique. The human race, devil race, and vicious beasts all viewed Murong Yu as an irreconcilable enemy and attacked him frantically. However, it was all to no avail. Murong Yu closed his eyes again and seized the time to comprehend it. He realized that although he had comprehended the she character formula, it was only the tip of the iceberg. He only knew the special ability of the she character formula, but he couldn't use it at all. He hadn't fully comprehended it, not to mention controlling the sky domain and all the living beings in it. Moreover, Murong-Yu also realized that his comprehension ability had reached an extremely high level during this process. He wanted to comprehend the chaotic celestial records and other cultivation technique. He didn't have time to talk nonsense with the beasts, humans, and monsters. Murong-Yu was multitasking. He comprehended the chaotic celestial records and practiced the she character formula at the same time. At the same time, he divided some of his attention to practice the 4 mantras that he had practiced before. When he practiced the formation character formula, the soldier character formula, and the other mantras all improved by a level, which made Murong-Yu's strength soar. He could also use this opportunity to improve the level of these cultivation techniques. Seeing that they couldn't kill Murong-Yu, the humans, monsters, and beasts became even more frenzied. Some of them had already rushed towards the heaven region, intending to kill Fanguor and the others. What? Murong-Yu has comprehended that cultivation technique? Fanguor and his family were shocked when they heard the news. They couldn't be more shocked. Father, there are many people who want to kill us now. What should we do? Fan Geng said anxiously. He finally understood why Murong-Yu told them not to leave the Sky Domain City. These people deserve to die. Fangua's eyes flashed coldly. At the same time, he waved his hand and swept up Fan Tong and the others. Then he rose into the air and rushed out of the Sky Domain in a flash, heading in the opposite direction of the she character formula valley. They all knew that the people of the Sky Domain would never let them go. Therefore, they had to leave the Sky Domain City first. As long as Murong-Yu successfully took control of the Heaven Domain and all living beings, they would be safe. Boom. While being attacked by countless experts, Murong-Yu's comprehension ability increased by countless times. Finally, not long after, the fighting character formula was the first to break through. The second stage of the fighting character formula could increase Murong-Yu's combat strength by 10 times. This kind of improvement was permanent, unlike some secret techniques that had a time limit. The third stage increased his combat strength by 100 times. In other words, Murong-Yu, who was at the peak of the Heavenly King realm, could increase his combat strength by 100 times. One person was equivalent to 100 experts of the same realm. Of course, Murong-Yu's strength was already extremely terrifying. After increasing his combat strength by 100 times, he had far surpassed the strength of 100 experts of the same realm. The second breakthrough was the formation character formula. The formation character formula could make him invisible. At the first stage, he could see into the hearts of his enemies. After breaking through to the second stage, this ability became even more prominent. Spreading out his divine sense, Murong-Yu could even see the thoughts of the humans, demons, and beasts who were crazily attacking him. The desire to kill him was extremely strong. This was not killing intent. Killing intent could be felt. What Murong-Yu saw was their minds and thoughts. In layman's terms, it was the ability to read minds. This was a very abnormal ability. If a person's mind could be read, everything about him would be seen through. Murong-Yu's mind was incomparably clear of all kinds of schemes and tricks. Even their moves appeared in his mind. In this way, who could be Murong-Yu's opponent? Chapter 1041. In addition, Murong-Yu had already touched the threshold of the 6th level of the chaotic heavenly records. He was only one step away from comprehending it. Once he comprehended it, he would step into the 6th level. Then, Murong-Yu's strength would skyrocket to the level of a celestial emperor, an immemorial god, or even a celestial master. Of course, this was impossible. Without a special opportunity, it would be difficult to comprehend it. It would be even more difficult to fully comprehend it. In addition, the Zai and Army formulas did not improve. The Army formula was already at the 3rd level. It was understandable that it did not make a breakthrough. It was just the Xi formula. In reality, Murong Yu could feel that he'd already made a breakthrough in the state of existence, art. Because the state of existence, art dominated the laws of space, Murong Yu could feel that his control over the power of space had become much freer, and he could do as he pleased. Also, his teleportation should be more powerful than before. However, his original teleportation allowed him to teleport anywhere within the range of his divine sense. Even if it was more powerful, he could not teleport beyond the range of teleportation, right? Therefore, Murong Yu did not feel that the Xi formula had improved significantly. All of this happened in a very short period of time. In such a short period of time, the tens of thousands of words of the Xi formula had not completely entered Murong Yu's body. Suddenly Murong Yu, who had his eyes closed, opened them, because at this moment, the inexplicable power that had been restraining him suddenly disappeared. He regained his freedom and control of his own power. Murong Yu knew that the sudden disappearance of the power meant that the Xi formula no longer protected him. Now, he had to rely on himself to save his life. The moment he opened his eyes, Murong Yu's figure flashed and disappeared. Teleportation. Fortunately, divine sense was not suppressed in the heaven domain. Otherwise, Murong Yu would not be able to teleport at all. Also, as long as Murong Yu's divine sense was still in this space, he would not be able to teleport into the turbulent space. If he wanted to enter Hichu Luoshu, there was a high chance that he would rush into the turbulent space. Therefore, the first thing he did was to teleport and not enter the Hichu Luoshu world. Rumble, the attacks of tens of millions of quasi-saint level experts covered an area of tens of billions of kilometers. However, because there were other quasi-saint experts in the vicinity, these attacks only covered the area and didn't strike down. Only the area with a radius of tens of millions of miles around where Murong Yu was originally located could be destroyed. After all, their current target was Murong Yu. If they attacked other people or ferocious beasts, it would trigger a huge battle. Whoosh! How could Murong Yu's divine sense cover a distance of tens of billions of miles? Therefore, he easily teleported away from the area covered by everyone's power. With a thought, Murong Yu was about to enter Hichu Luoshu. However, at this moment, countless terrifying forces tore through the sky and came tearing at him. Before the forces could strike, the space where Murong Yu was began to shatter in large areas. Even the turbulent space was being blasted out. This made Murong Yu stop his thoughts of entering Hichu Luoshu. Otherwise, he would have rushed into the turbulent space. Immediately, Murong Yu teleported again and rushed forward. After him, countless quasi-saint level experts chased after him. Each of them was much stronger than Murong Yu, and their speed was even faster than Murong Yu's teleportation. In the beginning, Murong Yu could rely on teleportation to constantly change directions to avoid everyone's attack. However, there were tens of millions of quasi-saint attacking him. After a while, he was plunged into endless danger. Just a moment ago, a powerful force had struck his body. Even his peerless grade divine artifact was almost shattered. His meridians were shattered, and his soul was almost annihilated. This was only the power of one quasi-saint. What if there were two of them? Or even more people? Murong Yu would definitely die. Murong Yu also knew this. His body kept flashing as he frantically dodged the quasi-saint's attack. However, after a few breaths, he was surrounded by countless quasi-saint from all directions. Streaks of incomparably dense energy blasted down from all directions. At this moment, less than 5 breaths' time had passed since Murong Yu had regained his freedom. With his strength, he could not even fight one quasi-saint, let alone tens of millions of quasi-saint. I can only enter Hichu Luoshu. If I enter the turbulent space, I still have a chance of survival. If I don't, I will definitely die today. Murong Yu thought. He gritted his teeth and stepped forward with a serious expression. He was about to enter Hichu Luoshu. Even if he had to risk entering the turbulent space, it would be better than being killed by these people. Boom. Boom. However, just as Morongyu was about to enter Hichu Luoshu, two large hands suddenly broke through the sky above Morongyu's head and rushed out. It was as if an ancient almighty had broken through time and space and reached out a large hand to grab the present. A terrifying aura that seemed capable of destroying the heavens and extinguishing the earth viciously clawed at Morongyu. Morongyu, don't resist. Just as Morongyu's expression changed, Fangua's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Soon after, Morongyu came to a realization. Morongyu immediately relaxed. However, he was still secretly prepared to enter Hichu Luoshu. So what if it was Fangua? If he wanted to kill him? Therefore, Morongyu was still prepared to enter the turbulent space. Two large hands, one belonged to Fangua and the other should belong to the Fan clan. At that moment, the two large hands were rushing towards Morongyu at a speed faster than anyone else present. At the same time, Morongyu also moved forward to meet them. With a swoosh, Fangua's large hand caught Morongyu. This kid is finished. How could he survive being caught by a quasi-saint? Therefore, everyone who saw this scene could not help but sneer. However, they quickly realized that something was wrong. Because after the large hand caught Morongyu, it did not immediately kill him. Instead, it quickly retreated with Morongyu. It was not to kill Morongyu, but to save Morongyu. Everyone immediately reacted and roared in anger. Endless power crazily blasted towards Yi Shiwen, bang, bang. Fangua and the Fan clan were indeed powerful. They were the top experts among the 10th level quasi-saint. However, even a saint would not dare to face the combined attack of tens of millions of quasi-saint. Therefore, the two large hands that Fangua and the Fan clan had conjured were immediately blasted into powder. However, Morongyu had already disappeared. He was not blasted into powder. Instead, Fangua had used a special method to save him. Morongyu felt the scenery in front of him change rapidly. In the next moment, he stepped on solid ground and was already far away from the valley. Pooh! Pooh! Just as Morongyu stepped on solid ground and did not even have time to see his surroundings clearly, two streams of blood sprayed onto him, drenching him. Morongyu was shocked. He looked over and saw two people sitting cross-legged in front of him. Who else could it be but Fangua and the Fan clan? Father! Mother! At the same time, Fan Tong and the other two cried out in alarm. In a flash, the three of them rushed in front of Fangua and the Fan clan. They supported Fangua and the Fan clan, who were on the verge of collapse. The two of them were seriously injured. They must have been injured by the quasi-saint while trying to save him. Morongyu muttered to himself and said, "Let's get out of here quickly. Don't resist. Enter my sacred weapon first." As he spoke, Morongyu put them into the Hichu Luoshu world. In the next moment, Hichu Luoshu was transported back to Sky Domain City, to the courtyard that originally belonged to Fangua. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is also the safest place. Moreover, Morongyu and the others would not leave Hichu Luoshu. Even if they stayed in Sky Domain City, no one would be able to find them. Whoosh, 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 just as Morongyu pulled Fangua and the others into the He2 and the Book of the Luo and teleported away, countless bursts of energy bombarded them. The void was smashed into smithereens, and spatial turbulence splashed everywhere. If Morongyu and the others had not left first, they would have been blasted into the turbulent space even if they did not die. The probability of being killed was 100%. They would not even have the chance to enter the turbulent space. After the forces bombarded them, many figures appeared. However, there was no sign of Morongyu and the others. Use all your power, even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground of Sky Domain. Find Morongyu. Many quasi-saint were filled with murderous intent as they began to search for Morongyu and the others. At this time, humans, demons, and beasts maintained a high level of tacit understanding and did not invade each other's territory. After all, their common enemy was Murong-Yu. If they did not want to be enslaved by others, they had to find Murong-Yu as soon as possible. Otherwise, the chances of being controlled would be higher if they were late. However, Sky Domain was not big, but it was not a small place. How could it be so easy to find someone who was hiding here? Moreover, Murong-Yu was in Sky Domain City. Don't panic. Although Uncle and Auntie are severely injured, they are not fatal. I will heal them, Murong-Yu said when he saw Fan Tong and the others supporting Fanguor and the Fan family worriedly. At the same time, all the energy in his body turned into life force and split into two parts, surging into Fanguor and the Fan family like a flood. Although the two of them were rank 10 quasi-saint, their physical bodies were far inferior to Murong-Yu's. With the current level of life force, they could be easily healed. Thus, under the gaze of Fan Tong and the others, Fanguor and the Fan family's injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The speed of recovery was terrifying. In a short while, Fanguor and the Fan family's injuries had healed by 20 to 30%. At this time, Fanguor and the Fan family, who were healing their bodies with their eyes closed, opened their eyes and looked at Murong-Yu in surprise. They were deeply shocked by Murong-Yu's life force. It should be known that with their strength, they would not be able to recover without hundreds of thousands of years. However, Murong-Yu used less than half a day to recover 20 to 30% of their injuries. In other words, one day was enough for Murong-Yu to heal their injuries. Chapter 1042. Seeing that everyone was looking at him in shock, Murong-Yu smiled and said, "Haven't you heard that I'm also a divine doctor?" Everyone shook their heads. Murong-Yu was a little depressed and said, "Seems like I'm not that famous." Fanguor and the rest were even more speechless than Murong-Yu. Especially Fanguor and the Fan clan. As one of the people involved, they knew how terrifying Murong-Yu's healing ability was. Even if Murong-Yu did not have any other skills, his healing ability was unparalleled in the realm of the gods. Fanguor and the Fan clan needed hundreds of thousands of years to heal, but he healed them in a day. This directly saved Fanguor and Luli hundreds of thousands of years of time. Hundreds of thousands of years might be enough for them to break through to the Sage Realm. Even if they could not break through to the Sage Realm, there were other benefits. After all, at their level, once they took the last step, they could become a sage. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of years, even a few dozen days was extremely precious to them. "I'll heal the two of you first. We'll talk about other things later." Seeing that Fanguor and the Fan clan were about to speak, Murong-Yu knew what they wanted to say and immediately said. Fanguor and the Fan clan immediately shut their mouth. On the off chance that Murong-Yu forgot to heal them, they'd have to waste hundreds of thousands of years to heal themselves. In less than 2 days, Fanguor and the Fan clan's injuries were completely healed. This made the two of them sigh for a long time. Then, the 5 of them looked at Murong-Yu in unison. Fan Tong could not help but ask, "Murong-Yu, what's going on? Did you really comprehend that cultivation technique?" "If I said yes, would you believe me?" Murong-Yu asked with a smile. Fanguor and the rest nodded. Therefore, Murong-Yu gave a rough account of what he had comprehended. Then, he continued, "However, although I did comprehend that cultivation technique, I still don't know how to leave the heaven region." He didn't know how to control the heaven domain and all the living beings in the heaven domain. I wonder if the rumors are wrong. Hearing this, Fanguor and the others secretly heaved a sigh of relief. No one wanted to be controlled by others. Although Murong-Yu had comprehended that cultivation technique, they were truly happy for him. However, if they were controlled by Murong-Yu, they wouldn't feel good. Seeing their relieved expressions, Murong-Yu couldn't help but bitterly smile and say, "Don't worry. Even if I can control all living beings in the heaven realm, I won't control you." After saying that, he added another sentence in his mind, "That is, if I can freely control them." Fangua frowned and said in a deep voice, "Now, you are the enemy of the whole world in the heaven domain, and you can't leave and control it. None of the living beings here will let you go. The heaven domain is not that big, but as long as they search, they will find us one day. At that time, we will face the attacks of tens of millions of quasi-saint experts." Murong Yu smiled. "Uncle, don't worry. I can't guarantee anything else, but I'm very sure about this. We are in the heaven domain city. They won't find us as long as we don't expose ourselves." As he spoke, Murong Yu opened a corner of the Hichu Luoshu. Immediately, Fangua and the others saw a familiar scene in Fangua's courtyard. However, there was no one here. Fangua was shocked. When he was about to speak, Murong Yu said again, "It's absolutely safe here. As long as I completely comprehend that cultivation technique, we can leave the heaven domain. When that time comes, even if there are hundreds of billions of quasi-saint experts in the heaven domain, they won't be able to do anything to us. Xiao Yu, hurry up and go cultivate. We've been in the heaven domain for so long, the people outside are probably worried. We have to leave as soon as possible." Murong Yu's heart tightened. Of course, he knew that after they entered the heaven domain, they were isolated from all auras. His soul spirit jade letter must have been destroyed long ago. Immediately, Murong Yu teleported away and appeared in another space. He then ignited his primal chaos god meridians and started to accelerate time. Time passed quickly. On Murong Yu's 500th year of cultivation, the spatial godhead that was originally at the peak stage of the Heaven Monarch realm finally broke through the early stage of the Heaven King realm. Murong Yu knew that this was because of the breakthrough of the Zai formula. Otherwise, even if he cultivated for another 5,000 or 50,000 years, he wouldn't be able to break through. After all, the reason why the primal chaos god Lattice and lightning divinity were able to break through so quickly. This was because when he broke through, there was a large amount of primal chaos and lightning divinity for the two godheads to absorb. For the spatial godhead to absorb energy, it had to rely on the power of the godhead itself. Although the power of space was everywhere, it was limited by the spatial godhead's absorption ability. After the breakthrough of the Zai formula, the spatial godhead's absorption ability was 100 times stronger than before. It was because of this that Murong Yu was able to break through to the early stage of the Heaven King realm in 500 years. On the 5,000th year, Murong Yu's spatial godhead broke through to the middle stage of the Heaven King realm. While the spatial godhead was breaking through, the primal chaos celestial records was also being comprehended continuously. He was only one step away from entering the 6th stage. The greatest benefit was the Zai formula. From the beginning, he only had a superficial understanding of it. Now, he had a basic understanding of it. It was already considered an initial achievement. After reaching this stage, Murong Yu had a feeling. What did it mean to have more control over his own body? Murong Yu's body originally belonged to him. Of course, he could have complete control over his own body. However, although the existence of the soul and the physical body depended on each other, they were both independent existences. Now, as Murong Yu's understanding of the Zai formula became deeper and deeper, he realized that his soul and physical body were fusing together. The physical body was the soul, and the soul was the physical body. Could it be that this is more control over my own body? Murong Yu was puzzled, but at the same time, he was surprised and happy. What was surprising was that once his soul and physical body completely fused together, there would be no distinction between you and me. In this way, once the physical body was annihilated, the soul would also be annihilated. What was happy was that there would no longer be an independent soul in his soul space. If others wanted to rush into his soul space to destroy his soul, they would definitely return empty-handed. In fact, Murong Yu was more surprised than happy. Because after the fusion, the entire body was the soul. Then, as long as any part of the body was attacked, it would be equivalent to an attack on the soul. Once the physical body was greatly shattered, the soul would also be greatly shattered. Would this cause serious damage to the soul? Of course, if the soul and physical body were fused together, there would be no distinction between you and me. Once the physical body was injured, the life force would be able to quickly repair it, undying and indestructible. For the time being, Morong-yu still didn't know the pros and cons of this mutation. However, he vaguely felt that this was definitely an extremely heaven-defying change. Not because of anything but because of one of the she character Formula 9 character's true words. Morong-yu continued to cultivate. When entering the 50,000th year, Morong-yu's spatial divine deity finally successfully broke through to the realm of peak heavenly king. From then on, Morong-yu's 3 divine deities all reached the realm of peak heavenly king. If the 3 divine deities erupted at the same time, his realm could instantly rise to peak heavenly emperor, or even higher realm. He could easily kill a heavenly emperor powerhouse. If he held the sacred grade divine artifact, soul chasing, Morong-yu had the confidence to have the strength to fight with ordinary primordial god realm powerhouses and not lose. However, a great war was about to break out between the human race and the demon race now. This bit of combat power was completely useless. One had to at least reach the realm of Empyrean to have the strength to protect themselves. Wanting to survive in this chaotic world, one must have the realm of Quasi-Saint. However, Quasi-Saint still had 10 realms. In other words, if Morong-yu wanted to move unhindered in the divine realm, he still needed to continue working hard. Moreover, didn't Primeval College still have saints? Morong-yu felt an endless amount of pressure when he thought of all the experts above him. However, this pressure also became the motivation for his cultivation. Tens of thousands of years after the spatial divine deity broke through to peak heavenly king, the chaotic celestial records that was originally just a step away finally broke through. The 6th level of the chaotic celestial records. The 5th level corresponded to the realm of heavenly king, heavenly lord, and heavenly king. And when Morong-yu broke through to the 6th level, he knew that the 6th level corresponded to the 3 realms of the divine realm. Heavenly Emperor, Primordial God, and Empyrean. Could it be that the 7th level corresponds to the 10 realms of Quasi-Saint? A doubt flashed in Morong-yu's heart. However, this question was quickly brushed away by him. He had only broken through to the 6th level now. If he had enough strength, he could only break through to the realm of Heavenly Emperor. There was still a long way to go before he reached the realm of Quasi-Saint. As expected, the higher the realm, the harder it is to break through. After breaking through before the 5th level, I will directly comprehend to the peak of that realm. As long as I have enough strength, I can directly raise my cultivation by 3 realms. At the 5th level, after breaking through, I can cultivate to the realm of Heavenly Lord. But at the 6th level, I can only cultivate to the realm of Heavenly Emperor. If I want to cultivate to the realm of Primordial God, I still need to comprehend. Morong-yu said in his heart somewhat helplessly. After breaking through to the 6th level, he was unable to continue comprehending. He didn't know if it was because his realm was not high enough, or if his comprehension was not high enough. However, he had broken through. Breaking through between realms was the most difficult. After crossing this hurdle, the rest would be much simpler. Now, as long as he had enough strength, he could let the 3 divine deities break through to the realm of Heavenly Emperor. Since that's the case, then I'll do my best to comprehend the Je character. I'll strive to leave the heaven region as soon as possible. Recently, I've been feeling a little uneasy. Could it be that something happened to Shenzhen? Morong-yu suddenly felt that his mind was somewhat uneasy. He vaguely felt that something might have happened to Shenzhen. Something indeed happened to Shenzhen. Chapter 1043. Dream Wilderness Mainland, Shenzhen. Rumble waves of incomparably terrifying power annihilated the entire sky. The horrifying power was even denser than raindrops, exploding from all directions of Sage Sect. Like stormy waves, it crazily bombarded the protective mountain array of Sage Sect, causing the protective mountain array to tremble violently, bursting out beams of dazzling divine light. Rumble under the bombardment of the terrifying power, many of Shenzhen's protective mountain array began to shatter. The disciples of the Glory Sect, who were maintaining the array, were also falling one after another. They were severely injured by the shockwaves. This was because most of the arrays set up by Morong Yu and Hichu did not require anyone to maintain them. Otherwise, most of Shenzhen's disciples would have been killed. Even so, Shenzhen suffered heavy losses. Under such a terrifying attack, many of the weaker disciples in Shenzhen were killed even if they did not maintain the array. As for the various buildings within Glory Sect, they were constantly being destroyed. Zhao Jiqing and the rest hovered above the sacred hall, coldly watching the experts who were crazily attacking Shenzhen. These people were not from the Dream Wilderness mainland. In fact, the ancestors in the Dream Wilderness mainland were only at the Heavenly Emperor realm. Even if there were primordial God realm experts, there would not be many of them. Even if all the forces in the Dream Wilderness mainland were to attack these experts, they would not be able to break through Shenzhen's protective mountain array. It was obvious that the forces attacking Shenzhen were not from the Dream Wilderness mainland. The Divine Union. If Murong Yu was here, he would definitely recognize the man who was standing at the heavenly door and looking coldly at Shenzhen. The Divine Union leader. The two young masters of the Divine Union had been killed by Murong Yu. This made the Divine Union hate Murong Yu to the extreme. Therefore, after Murong Yu died, they somehow managed to find out the relationship between Murong Yu and Shenzhen. Immediately, the Divine Union mobilized all its forces and charged into the Dream Wilderness continent. After arriving at the Dream Wilderness continent, the Divine Union immediately started a sweep. How could these forces in the Dream Wilderness be a match for the Divine Union? In less than 10 years, all the powerful forces in the Dream Wilderness had been wiped out. All the powers had submitted to the Divine Union. They didn't dare to disobey. If they didn't submit, they would perish. They would be completely wiped out by the Divine Union. Therefore, in less than 10 years, the Divine Union had dominated the Dream Wilderness except for Shenzhen. Shenzhen would never submit to other forces. Therefore, when the Divine Union led the other forces in the Dream Wilderness continent and charged over, Shenzhen immediately activated the protective mountain array. However, the Divine Union was too powerful. They had countless heavenly venerate powerhouses. After a round of bombardment, half of Shenzhen's protective mountain array had been destroyed. Although they could hold on for now, it was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. The Union leader has ordered that none of Shenzhen's men will be left alive. Kill every single one of them. An angry roar was heard from afar, igniting the anger in the hearts of all the people in Shenzhen. Mother, let's go out and fight them. Murong Yu's eldest son, Murong Xian, looked at Zhao Jiqing and said in a low voice. Seeing that the entire Glory Sect was just holding up and taking the attacks passively, his killing intent was overflowing. Murong Xian was extremely talented. He had already reached the peak of the Heavenly King realm. In fact, the four of them were not bad. They had all reached the Heavenly King realm. Zhao Jiqing's face darkened as she looked at Murong Xian. What are you going to use to fight them? Have you forgotten what your father told you? A Heavenly King realm powerhouse would be courting death if he went out. Any random attack would be able to wipe out Shenzhen. Furthermore, there were countless primordial gods and heavenly venerates outside. To put it bluntly, Shenzhen was simply not qualified to fight the Divine Union. Sister, I'll ask the Lan family for help immediately. Although the Divine Union is powerful, the Lan family can easily destroy them. Lan said with a murderous look on her face. Zhao Jiqing shook her head and rejected Lan's suggestion. putting aside whether the Lan family would make a move. If the Lan family really made a move, they would owe them a huge favor. Shenzhen could not afford to pay them back. Furthermore, even if Murong Yu was around, he would not agree to ask the Lan family for help. This was because Shenzhen was not in a life-or-death situation yet. Moreover, would the Lan family really help Shenzhen? There were rumors everywhere in the realm of the gods that Murong Yu was already dead. If Murong Yu was still around, the Lan family might save him on account of Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu had already fallen. Shenzhen did not have anything that was worth the Lan family's help. At most, they would save Kurlan. Therefore, Zhao Jiqing would definitely not place her hopes on the Lan family. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. The terrifying power continued to bombard the protective mountain array and shatter it continuously. Shenzhen's disciples were constantly killed by the shockwave. Retreat! Zhao Jiqing suddenly shouted. We will live and die with Shenzhen. We will definitely not retreat. After hearing Zhao Jiqing's order to retreat, Shenzhen's disciples were stunned. Then, they resolutely and angrily shouted their positions. Zhao Jiqing was instantly enraged. It was good that these people wanted to live and die with Shenzhen, but it also depended on the situation. Now, even if they all charged out, they would not be able to kill many people from the Divine Union. They were courting death. Immediately, she shouted coldly, Everyone, retreat! When the Holy Master returns, he will lead everyone to destroy the Divine Union. This was the order given by the Holy Master before he left. Whoever does not obey will be expelled from Shenzhen immediately. The Shenzhen's disciples, who were originally filled with righteous indignation, fell silent after hearing Zhao Jiqing's words. Then, the transportation formation that connected to Shenzhen in the primordial wilderness continent flickered with rays of light. They would believe everything that Murong Yu said. Since this was Murong Yu's order, they would obey unconditionally. Kurlan was shocked when she saw that everyone no longer had any emotions and started to enter the transportation formation in an orderly manner. This kind of cohesion was too terrifying. Was Murong Yu's prestige really that terrifying? Even if his real body was not here, he could make these people obey unconditionally with just one sentence? This was the first time Kurlan had seen such a terrifying sect with such cohesion. This kind of power was destined to be invincible. These people, even if Murong Yu asked them to die, they would die without hesitation, right? Kurlan muttered in astonishment. Why would Murong Yu ask them to die? Murong Yu is wholeheartedly devoted to Shenzhen. Every disciple of Shenzhen understands that everything they have today is because of Murong Yu. It's precisely because of this that they are deeply grateful to Murong Yu and feel grateful towards him. They support Murong Yu unconditionally. But this kind of cohesion is too terrifying. Kurlan could not help but be shocked. Among Shenzhen's disciples, there are those with heaven-defying talents and those with ordinary talents. Most of them had followed Murong Yu from the mortal realm and ascended with him. Without Murong Yu, there would be no them. You won't understand this kind of gratitude. Zhao Jiqing said. Alright, stop talking. The great battle of the lake and mountain is almost destroyed. Let's hurry to the transportation formation. Otherwise, something might happen if we're late. Yu Mengqing said in a deep voice. The transportation formation between the Dream Wilderness Continent and the Primordial Wilderness Continent was originally set up for such situations. Therefore, it did not take long for the entire Shenzhen to be transported over. When Zhao Jiqing and the rest entered the transportation formation, the last protective formation of Shenzhen was also destroyed. Instantly, a horrifying amount of energy poured down and raised Glory Sect to the ground. A bunch of good-for-nothings. The Divine Union Alliance Master roared furiously as he traversed through space and time and appeared above the sage sect that had been razed to the ground. They clearly saw Shenzhen's people teleporting away. But now, even the teleportation array had been destroyed. Repair these transportation formations immediately. Find out where these transportation formations lead to, the Divine Union Alliance Master said with a murderous look. Although he had killed more than 100,000 people of Shenzhen, it was not enough to appease his anger. He wanted to kill every single person of Shenzhen and destroy their orthodoxy. Destroy the transportation formations. After everyone was transported back to the primordial wilderness continent, Zhao Jiqing immediately ordered the destruction of all the transportation formations. After thinking about it, she felt that even the primordial wilderness continent was not safe. After all, if the Divine Union could find the Dream Wilderness continent, they could naturally find the primordial wilderness continent as well. Therefore, they could only return to the immortal world now. Everyone has their powers sealed. They are sealed in the quasi-god realm. Prepare to return to the immortal world. Zhao Jiqing immediately ordered. Shenzhen's people did as they were told without any hesitation. They all thought that this was Murong Yu's order. In fact, although this was not Murong Yu's order, it was one of the backup plans that Murong Yu had prepared long ago. Immortal World, Shenzhen. The transportation formation, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly flickered with divine light. Then, one by one, experts with monstrous auras poured out of the transportation formation and flew into the distance. As soon as some experts with unstable auras appeared, their powerful auras shook the surrounding space to the point where it began to collapse in large swathes. What's going on? Aren't these seniors who have ascended to the immortal world? Why have they all come down? Many of the immortals in Shenzhen were shocked. They were puzzled as they looked at the seniors who were being transported down from the immortal world. Originally, it would cost a lot to be transported back to the immortal world from the immortal world. However, this was no longer a problem because of Hichu's special formation and Shenzhen's extremely rich divine pulse. What? Everyone is being transported back to the primordial wilderness continent? Immediately raise the primordial wilderness continent to the ground. Leave no one alive. The Divine Union leader was furious. However, when they arrived at the Ascension City of the primordial wilderness continent, they saw that the Ascension City was already empty. Destroy all of this for me. Destroy the Ascension platform as well. The Divine Union leader was furious. Chapter 1044. Shenzhen was forced back to the immortal world, but nothing happened to the floating mountain. Although more and more people wanted to take down the floating mountain, they couldn't do anything about it. In fact, the disciples of the Fan family didn't even show up. They were all cultivating quietly. After Shenzhen was forced back to the immortal world, the relationship between Shenzhen and Murong Yu was finally exposed. In an instant, countless people who wanted to kill Murong Yu felt that it was a pity. They didn't have time to kill Shenzhen and the others. Since they had returned to the immortal world, the rest of them didn't dare to follow. This was because their cultivation level would be suppressed above quasi-saints. It would be impossible to kill Shenzhen. Moreover, who knew how powerful Shenzhen was in the immortal world? If they went down rashly, wouldn't they be sending themselves to their deaths? As for Primeval College, the Ouyang family, the Lan family, and the others wanted to take revenge for Shenzhen and destroy the Divine Union. As Kurlan said, it would be easy for them to destroy the Divine Union. However, no one did it in the end. Even if they destroyed the Divine Union, it wouldn't matter. However, it seemed like it would be better to leave the revenge to Shenzhen. Heaven Region, Hichu Luoshu. Countless ferocious beasts, humans, and demonic beast experts were still searching for traces of Murong Yu and the others. However, no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find Murong Yu and the others. Murong Yu and the others seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Could they have left the Heaven Region? Someone thought. Although they felt a little regretful that they couldn't leave the Heaven Region, they were still glad that they weren't controlled. Maybe they really left the Heaven Region. As time passed, many people felt relieved when they didn't see Murong Yu and the others. They didn't lose anything by leaving this place. At most, there would be one less cultivation technique that they could not comprehend. However, what if Murong Yu was hiding somewhere in the Qingyun realm to cultivate? Once he succeeded, wouldn't he be able to control the entire heaven domain? At that time, he would have to control them. There were quite a few people who thought this way. But if they couldn't find Murong Yu, they could only worry. On this day in Hichu Luoshu, Fan Guo and the others who were cultivating suddenly felt something and immediately opened their eyes. They suddenly saw Murong Yu standing in front of them with a smile on his face. Fan Guo and the others were shocked. They were not surprised by Murong Yu's sudden appearance. They were in the Hichu Luoshu world. It was normal for Murong Yu to appear out of thin air without them noticing. They were not surprised. What shocked them the most was that the current Murong Yu looked very different from before. The person standing in front of them seemed to be Murong Yu, but also seemed to not be Murong Yu. He seemed to exist, but also seemed to not exist here. Murong Yu was standing in front of them, but they only saw one, but it also seemed like there were many Murong Yu. It was as if Murong Yu had countless clones. It was very strange. Moreover, Murong Yu's cultivation level was not high, but it gave Fan Guo and the Fan family a lot of pressure. What's going on? Fan Guo and the others sized up Murong Yu with a shocked expression. Fan Tong and Fan Gang were even more shocked. Murong Yu's gaze swept across them, and they felt as if everything about them was exposed to Murong Yu. Everything, including the thoughts that appeared in their hearts, seemed to be seen through by Murong Yu. Moreover, Murong Yu's body faintly emitted the aura of an emperor, and the aura of an emperor was very dense. It made Fan Gang and Fan Tong want to kneel down and submit. Murong Yu stood in place, and his eyes slowly flashed across Fan Guo and the others. When he got close to them, Murong Yu seemed to have become them, and knew their inner thoughts. Among them, Fan Tong's thoughts were almost completely the same as Murong Yu's. Fan Gang's thoughts were somewhat imitated. Murong Yu could not see through the thoughts of the 5th-rank Quasi-Saint Fan Shao at all. As for the 10th-rank Quasi-Saint Fan Guo and the Fan family, he could not read their inner thoughts at all. The difference in strength was too great, and Murong Yu could not see through their inner thoughts. In fact, this was not Murong Yu's greatest gain from this seclusion. The swordsman formula was also very mysterious. The current Murong Yu had a special ability. If he wanted to, he could directly control Fan Tong. His body, strength, and even soul would be directly under his control. And during this process, Fan Tong did not even know that he was being controlled. It was different from directly controlling the soul. In the soul space, if he encountered a soul that was much stronger than Murong Yu's, then it was possible to erase Murong Yu's imprint on the souls of those he controlled, and let those people regain their freedom. However, Murong Yu's current control would not leave any imprints on the bodies of those he controlled. It was silent, and even the person himself did not know that he was being controlled, let alone others. In other words, if Murong Yu used this method to control someone, unless Murong Yu died, there would be no solution to this problem. Of course, if Murong Yu took the initiative to remove it, then it would be a different story. Fan Tong was weaker, and Murong Yu could directly control him. Fan Gang had reached the Sky Lord realm, and with Murong Yu's current strength, it would be a bit difficult to directly control him. He could not control Fan Shao at all. As for Fan Guo and the Fan family, Murong Yu did not even think about it. This ability was also the reason why Fan Tong and Fan Gang had a submissive mentality towards Murong Yu. The so-called domineering aura. This ability was rather heaven-defying. If people knew about it, Murong Yu would definitely become the public enemy of all the gods in the God realm. In fact, the swordsman formula's ability to control others was secondary. The most important thing was to change Murong Yu's body. When he first started cultivating, Murong Yu's soul had already merged with his body. There was no distinction between you and me. The soul was the body and the body was the soul. However, as Murong Yu continued to cultivate and reached a higher level, his soul and body started to change again. Originally, his soul and body had only merged into one. The two became one, and there was only one soul. But now, he had countless souls. Hair, skin, flesh, and bones. His soul was everywhere. It was to the point that every particle in his body was a soul that existed alone. In other words, however many particles there were in his body, he had the same number of souls. For example, his body was made up of 10 billion particles. Then he had 10 billion souls. Usually, these particles would combine together to form a huge soul. And if Murong Yu was attacked, his soul would also be destroyed. However, because every soul was a particle that existed alone, as long as there was a particle in his body, his soul would not be damaged. If one wanted to destroy Murong Yu's soul in one move, then one would have to completely destroy Murong Yu, and not leave a single particle behind. Otherwise, it would be impossible to destroy him. In fact, it would not be able to harm his soul at all. At this point, Murong Yu's life-saving ability had once again strengthened. He could be called an unkillable cockroach. Murong Yu, have you successfully cultivated that technique? After being stunned for a moment, Fan Tong could not help but ask. Murong Yu nodded, then shook his head. Then, he said, it can be considered a success. We can also leave this place. However, we are unable to control the heavenly domain and all the living beings in the heavenly domain. Didn't you say that as long as you comprehend that technique, you can control the heavenly domain and all the living beings here? Fan Gang asked doubtfully. Murong Yu nodded and said helplessly, I can control the heavenly domain, but there is a huge requirement for strength. I am only at the peak of the Heavenly King stage. How can I control all the living beings here and even the heavenly domain? I feel that I have to at least reach the level of quasi-saint to have the ability to control the heavenly domain. If you control it, then will you control us as well? If you control us, I will immediately fall out with you. Fan Tong chuckled and said, If I control you, how will you fall out with me? However, even if I can control all living beings, I will not control you. The ones who need to be controlled are other people. As he spoke, a cold, killing intent flashed past his eyes. He had too many enemies, and those people were all people that he must kill. But now, Murong Yu had changed his mind and controlled all those people that he must kill. Then, he enslaved them and made them work for Murong Yu. Wasn't this more fun than directly killing them? Since we can leave, then let's leave the heavenly domain first. This damned place is too disgusting. In the future, when you are successful in your cultivation, you can control all of this place. Then, you can bring these people to sweep the God realm. What 4 great academies, what demon race, all of them will be trampled. Fan Tong patted Murong Yu's shoulder and said with a laugh. It was as if he wasn't talking about Murong Yu, but himself. Murong Yu looked at Fan Tong speechlessly. Actually, Murong Yu's thoughts were the same as Fan Tong's. After controlling the millions of quasi-saint in the heavenly domain, they can directly sweep through the God realm. In the future, they can even sweep through the holy world. Fanguer and Madame Fan looked at each other. They wanted to say something, but in the end, they didn't say anything. Before we leave, I still have one more thing to do before we can leave. Murong Yu smiled and finally looked at Fanguer and Madame Fan. For this matter, I need Uncle and Auntie to help. Fanguer and Madame Fan looked at each other and a cold light flashed in their eyes. Then, Fanguer said, If you want to help, just say the word. We have a stomach full of anger. When they were saving Murong Yu, the two of them were almost killed. This made Fanguer and Madame Fan unable to let it go. If they were to make a move, they would definitely fight. You want revenge? But there doesn't seem to be any enemies in the heavenly domain? If you want to talk about enemies, other than the few of us, the entire heavenly domain is your enemy. What do you want to do? Fan Tong looked at Murong Yu in confusion and asked. Capture people. Murong Yu smiled faintly. Capture people? Fan Tong and the others were stunned, not knowing what he meant. Chapter 1045. In the Qingyun realm, the beasts ruled at night. Countless powerful beasts roamed the Qingyun realm at night. The humans and demons could only hide in the Qingyun realm, not daring to go out. However, when the day came, all of these ferocious beasts would flee and hide in their lairs, not coming out. Of course, it didn't mean that all of them wouldn't come out. They just didn't come out much. Perhaps this was the reason why the beasts didn't have much conflict with the humans and demons. However, during the day the humans and demons were very active. Almost every day there would be people outside, hunting beasts, obtaining crystal cores from the beasts. After all, there were only so many holy veins in the Qingyun realm. Those that could be found had already been collected. Although the Qingyun realm was very rich in heaven and earth yuan qi, it was a holy land for cultivation. However, no one would be satisfied with just absorbing the yuan qi, because they had to hunt the crystal cores of the beasts. Swoosh! Murong Yu and the others appeared in the valley where the Zheword formula was. Of course, because the Zheword formula had disappeared, there was no one in the valley. Murong Yu, you want to capture people to control them? Just now, Fangua and the others knew about Murong Yu's plan. However, Fangua and the others were still doubtful about whether Murong Yu, who was at the peak of the Heavenly King stage, could control the quasi-saint. After all, the only way they knew to control people was to control their souls. Although the gods didn't cultivate their souls. However, the souls of the quasi-saint were very strong. How could a peak Heavenly King stage control them? They would probably explode. Murong Yu smiled and said to Fangua and the others, "We'll know after we try. When the time comes, Uncle and Auntie, as long as you seal the quasi-saint's power, I will be able to control them." Murong Yu's eyes flashed coldly. It wasn't the first time Murong Yu had done something like controlling the quasi-saint. In the cultivation realm and the immortal realm, Murong Yu had controlled many people. However, after going to the immortal realm, he didn't control anyone. This was because his cultivation level was too low. Even if the person he controlled was weak, it was useless. Of course, if it was quasi-saint, that would be the most ideal. Furthermore, after ascending to the God realm, all the people that Murong Yu had previously controlled were all released from his control. These people under Murong Yu's control were all Murong Yu's enemies. However, after controlling it for so many years, under his imperceptible influence, it had changed. Even if he removed his control, those people had already become part of Shenzhen. He was no longer Murong Yu's enemy, but a loyal disciple of Shenzhen. If he could control a few quasi-saint, he would be able to protect Shenzhen. Murong Yu was able to do things more conveniently. How many quasi-saint can you control? How much could the strongest one control? Can a 10th rank quasi-saint control them? Fangua's eyes flashed as he looked at Murong Yu. He continued, "If you can control a 10th rank quasi-saint, then directly control a 10th rank quasi-saint. Otherwise, the other quasi-saint are useless." Murong Yu nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble Uncle and Auntie." As he spoke, Murong Yu's figure flashed, and he disappeared with Fan Tong and the others. Only Fangua and the Fan clan were left. They were both 10th rank quasi-saint. Even if they were 5th rank quasi-saint, Fan Shao, they would be a burden if they stayed outside. Hichu Luoshu turned into a particle and attached itself to Fangua's body. Then, Fangua and Fan Shao both soared into the sky and flew into the distance. They spread out their powerful divine sense and soon encountered a quasi-saint level powerhouse. However, it was still a 2nd rank quasi-saint. It was useless to Murong Yu. Fangua and Fan Shao didn't make a move either. Instead, they left directly. However, even in the heavenly region, there weren't many 10th rank quasi-saint. Moreover, Quasi-saint of this level usually cultivated in Heavenly Region City, and rarely came out. After all, they were only half a step away from saint. Once they took that half a step, they could become saints, and no one knew when that half a step would be taken. Perhaps it would be the next moment, or perhaps they would never be able to take it in their entire lives. However, apart from the 10th rank quasi-saint, they encountered many other levels of quasi-saint. There were even many 9th rank quasi-saint. However, Fanguo and Fan Shao still didn't make a move. Apart from that, they encountered many 10th rank quasi-saint level ferocious beasts. But what was the use of controlling ferocious beasts? Su Hao definitely couldn't control much now. Therefore, he had to cherish the quota he controlled. Moreover, these people he controlled were all used as thugs. Ferocious beasts weren't suitable as thugs. During the day, they came out to look for 10th rank quasi-saint expert. At night, they hid in the Hichu Luoshu world to avoid encountering ferocious beasts. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. On this day, Fanguo, who was scanning with his spiritual will, suddenly had a look of joy on his face. Then, after exchanging glances with the Fan clan, the two of them soared into the sky and shot forward. Not far from Fanguo and Fan Shao, a quasi-saint level expert was advancing quickly. His blood surged and his demonic aura soared. This was a quasi-saint expert of the demon race, a 10th rank quasi-saint. Wen Ling, a relatively powerful 10th rank expert in Heavenly Region City. Countless years ago, he was a top genius of the demon race. He reached the quasi-saint realm at a young age. Because he was conceited, because he wanted to become a saint. After learning of the existence of the heavenly region, he resolutely barged into the real heavenly region. After entering the heavenly region, he did indeed see the legendary technique that could make a person become a saint. However, the cruelty of reality told him that no matter how much of a genius he was, he couldn't comprehend that technique. Moreover, in the heavenly region, there were many people who were more talented than him. Who wasn't a genius after entering the heavenly region. After countless years, he continued to comprehend that technique in the beginning. He wanted to become a saint. However, as time passed, he no longer hoped to comprehend that technique to become a saint, because, after so many years, his strength had increased from a 1st rank quasi-saint to a 10th rank quasi-saint. He was only half a step away from becoming a saint. Now, he just wanted to leave the heavenly region. However, not long ago, that technique was comprehended by a small ant who had just entered and disappeared. This made him feel dangerous. He couldn't leave, he couldn't become a saint, and he was in danger of being controlled by others. Therefore, he had been collecting crystal cores of ferocious beasts. He planned to forcefully become a saint. Whoosh, whoosh. As he flew, 2 figures appeared in front of him. Wen Ling frowned slightly. Just as he was about to look over, his heart was shrouded by an extremely strong aura. 2 terrifying forces instantly engulfed the area and bombarded him crazily. After all, Wen Ling was a 10th rank quasi-saint. His reaction was extremely fast. In an instant, he retreated. However, Fanguo and the Fan family weren't weak either. They were even stronger than him. Moreover, it was a sneak attack. Although Wen Ling was fast, he couldn't avoid it. Bang! Bang! 2 large hands shattered the void, annihilating time and space, and pressed directly on Wen Ling's body. A powerful force exploded, and Wen Ling's entire body almost exploded. Puff fresh blood spurted out without any regard for his life. Wen Ling's entire body was blasted away. Kill! Fanguo roared and stepped out, shattering the endless void and billions of time and space. His figure flashed as he charged forward. His divine fist was invincible, shattering thousands of void and charging straight at Wen Ling. Wen Ling finally reacted. With a roar, he struck out with both hands. A terrifying demonic aura soared into the sky, shattering the sky. Wen Ling's pair of divine fists exploded with terrifying power and murderous intent, as if it came from the ancient times. It violently collided with Fan Guo's divine fist. Rumble! Both sides violently collided, and an earth-shattering sound exploded. A terrifying impact force burst out, and the surrounding void was torn apart like a piece of rotten cloth. Countless spatial turbulence surged out like raging waves. Wen Ling and Fan Guo's body shook violently, and they were sent flying at the same time. However, Fan Guo was only sent flying 1,000,000,000 miles away. However, Wen Ling was sent flying even further away. There was still a gap between the two of them. Moreover, Wen Ling was hit by a palm from Fan Guo and the Fan family, and he was already severely injured. Bang! When Wen Ling was sent flying, the Fan family, who didn't attack, attacked again. Her figure flashed, and she disappeared from the spot. When she reappeared, she was already beside Wen Ling. She lightly struck with her palm, and it directly crossed hundreds of millions of time and space to press on Wen Ling's body. Bang! Wen Ling's body finally couldn't take it anymore, and it was shattered into billions of pieces. However, the Fan family's attack didn't stop, and they directly struck at Wen Ling's soul. Wen Ling was furious, and he roared with murderous intent. His body quickly condensed in his soul state. He would be completely annihilated by the Fan family's light strike. Bang! The moment his body condensed, the Fan family's palm turned into a fist, and she punched. Wen Ling let out an angry roar, and the figure that had just condensed was once again shattered. Wen Ling roared again and again. He didn't want to die, and he couldn't leave in his soul state. He could only condense his body again. This time, the Fan family didn't attack. It was shattered by Fan Guo, who crossed countless time and space in one step. Wen Ling was about to go crazy. He roared and condensed his body again. During this process, he quickly fled to one side. However, how could he escape from the attack of two level 10 quasi-saint? He condensed his body several times, but it was always destroyed by Fan Guo and the Fan family. After several times, Wen Ling even had the thought of dying. Moreover, his strength was rapidly depleting. With a bang, his body was destroyed again. Wen Ling's strength finally fell to level 9 quasi-saint. Then, without waiting for him to condense his body again, Fan Guo's hand reached out and grabbed Wen Ling's soul. Then, his figure flashed, and he disappeared with the Fan family. Chapter 1046. In the Hichu Luoshu, Fan Guo threw Wen Ling's soul out as soon as he entered. Immediately, Wen Ling reformed his body. Then, with a murderous look, he glared at Fan Guo and the others and said, "What do you mean by this? Why are you attacking me? Don't you know that in the Sky Regent City, humans and demons mind their own business?" Fan Guo ignored Wen Ling and looked at Murong Yu and asked, "Can we do it now?" Murong Yu looked deeply at Wen Ling and shook his head. "Still can't. We still need Uncle to seal his power." Shwa. Before Murong Yu finished speaking, the Fan family had already attacked. Wen Ling was already not a match for the Fan family when he was at his peak. Now that his power had been reduced to quasi-saint level 9, he was even less of a match for the Fan family. As a result, the Fan clan was able to restrain him. Then, they slapped him a few times. Immediately, Wen Ling angrily discovered that his power had been sealed. Now, even Fan Tong could easily kill him, let alone Fan Guo and the others. "What are you doing?" Wen Ling roared angrily. He had a bad feeling. No one paid attention to him. Everyone looked at Murong Yu. Murong Yu looked at Wen Ling originally, when Wen Ling was still a level 9 quasi-saint. He could not control Wen Ling at all. But after Wen Ling's level was sealed, Wen Ling was like Fan Tong. He could control him directly. Level 10 quasi-saint, of course, it can be controlled. Murong Yu smiled and stepped forward. "Human, are you trying to instigate a war between the human race and the demon race?" Wen Ling roared, his killing intent soaring. Hearing this, Murong Yu's eyes flashed coldly. Hadn't the demons harmed him enough? In the star wilderness, in the dream wilderness, in the demon wilderness. The demons had almost killed Murong Yu many times, and the demons had already invaded human territory. It was inevitable that a war between the two races would break out. At this time, the two races would have already broken out. Shut up! Hearing Wen Ling's words, the faces of Fanguo and the others turned gloomy and murderous. If it wasn't for the demons, how could they have fallen to such a state? If it wasn't for the demons, Fan Tong would have been married long ago. They were living happily in the floating mountain. Why would they have to suffer in this hellish place that they could not leave? Murong Yu sneered as he stood in front of Wen Ling suddenly. His hands began to dance rapidly. In an instant, Fan Guo and the others saw Murong Yu forming a series of cryptic hand seals. Streaks of inexplicable power were continuously sent out by him, entering Wen Ling's body. As the hand seals rushed into Wen Ling's body, Wen Ling's expression kept changing. From the initial anger on his face, it gradually calmed down. When Murong Yu stopped making hand seals, Wen Ling stood respectfully not far in front of Murong Yu. He bowed slightly and lowered his eyes. Did you succeed? Fan Tong couldn't help but ask when he saw that Murong Yu had stopped. Murong Yu nodded with a pale face and said, I finally succeeded. But a 10th level quasi-saint is extremely difficult to control even if his realm is sealed. In reality, Murong Yu was secretly laughing in his heart. He was shocked. The hand seals he made and his pale face were all for Fanguo and the others to see. In reality, he could easily control Wen Ling. However, that look was too shocking. It would even scare Fanguo and the others. That was why Murong Yu had deliberately put on such an appearance. And when he continuously struck out one seal after another, in reality, he had already controlled Wen Ling. During this process, he carefully experienced the difference between word formula controlling people and direct soul control. Soul control only controlled the soul. The controller controlled the mind. Every move could not escape Murong Yu's control. Murong Yu controlled their life and death. But the control of word formula was different. The soul, power and even the body could be directly controlled. It was more thorough than soul control. Murong Yu even felt that he could control their every move. These people were like his doppelgangers. But there was no harm to them. They were still themselves. What shocked Murong Yu the most was that after he controlled Wen Ling, he could even borrow Wen Ling's power. After realizing this, Murong Yu could not help but be shocked. Immediately, he nodded. Then, he looked at Fanguo and the Fan family and said, Uncle, Auntie, please remove Wen Ling's seal. Are you sure you have control? Fanguo said in a low voice. Murong Yu nodded. Immediately, Fanguo removed Wen Ling's seal. However, he stood in front of Murong Yu and the others to prevent Murong Yu from failing to control Wen Ling and killing him. But it was not enough. His worries were unnecessary. After being controlled by Murong Yu, Wen Ling would not be removed. Unless Murong Yu took the initiative to remove it. Rumble, after Wen Ling's power was restored to level 9 quasi-saint, Murong Yu felt the surging power in Wen Ling's body. This power was like a pool of power. It floated around Murong Yu, allowing him to borrow the power in the pool. Murong Yu even felt that this power could be used to replenish the power he consumed. He could even borrow Wen Ling's power to temporarily raise his realm. However, in this way, Wen Ling's power would be consumed twice as much. I wonder how many realms it can raise? Murong Yu's heart stirred, wanting to give it a try. His 3 divine deities had reached peak Heavenly King realm. If the 3 divine deities exploded at the same time, he could directly raise to peak Heavenly Emperor realm. And if borrowing Wen Ling's power could raise his realm might be able to directly raise to immemorial God realm. In other words, even if Murong Yu did not use the supreme grade divine artifact, soul chasing, he could raise his realm by 2 major realms. Of course, borrowing power to raise one's realm had a huge drawback. The person who borrowed power would consume twice as much power. In other words, It was impossible to borrow power to raise one's realm for a long time. However, if Murong Yu controlled more quasi-saint, the time he could borrow power would also increase. No matter what, this was an extremely heaven-defying ability. This was another one of Murong Yu's trump cards. Murong Yu did not immediately try to borrow Wenling's power. Trump cards, of course, the fewer people who knew, the fewer the better. Even Fangua and the rest did not need to know. It was not that Murong Yu did not trust them, but this kind of thing, of course, the fewer people who knew, the fewer the better. Otherwise, the walls had ears, it would be known very soon. Murong Yu, will your control be discovered and removed by others? If this happens, you will be in extreme danger, Fangua said solemnly. Once the sole control of the person being controlled was removed, and Murong Yu was unaware, he would be killed by the person being controlled. This was extremely dangerous. But Murong Yu had a look of confidence. Uncle, you can check carefully. Wenling, you check too. Yes, Holy Lord. Wenling replied respectfully, then directly sat down cross-legged and began to check himself. Fangua and the Fan clan also began to check. This is too miraculous. A 10th level quasi-saint is being controlled just like that? Fan Tong, Fan Gang and Fan Xiao looked at each other, their faces full of shock. Fan Xiao was relatively normal, after all, he was a quasi-saint. But Fan Tong and Fan Gang were incomparably shocked. Murong Yu, this brat, is about to become invincible in the God realm. Fan Tong shook his head and said, his face full of envy. Murong Yu smiled slightly. Controlling a 10th level quasi-saint will make you invincible in the God realm? Then your Fan clan would have long been the ruler of the God realm. You can control multiple 10th level quasi-saint. Murong Yu shook his head slightly. How could it be so easy? At most, I can control a 10th level quasi-saint. After all, I am only a heavenly king. If I could really control limitlessly, I would control all the quasi-saint in the heaven domain. That way, I would definitely be invincible in the God realm. But that is impossible. Murong Yu was speaking the truth. Of course, this was only a temporary reality. Once Murong Yu became stronger, he could directly control the heaven domain and all the living beings in the heaven domain. Fan Tong and the others nodded and sighed in relief. If Murong Yu could control the quasi-saint limitlessly now, they were afraid just thinking about it. After a long time, Wenling was the first to stop the check. Holy Master, I don't feel anything different from usual. There are no signs of being controlled at all. But, there is a voice in the dark telling me that Holy Master is my master, and I can never betray you. I, Wenling, am willing to follow Holy Master's orders. Wenling bowed and said respectfully. Murong Yu nodded, he already knew this result. Then, he looked at Fangua and the Fan clan. After Fangua and the Fan Corporation checked several times, they stopped the inspection. His soul, body, and strength are all normal. There are no signs of being controlled at all. Their answers were almost the same as Wenling's. There are really no signs of being controlled at all, just like normal? Isn't this too magical? Fan Tong said with some surprise. This is the miraculous part of that cultivation technique. In the future, I can even control anyone I want to control without being discovered. Fan Tong smiled faintly. Fangua and the others were also surprised, they felt that it was very magical. Murong Yu, you said that you can control a rank 10 quasi-saint. Do you want to continue controlling him or leave the heaven domain first? I'm not in a hurry to leave, I still need to control a rank 10 quasi-saint. After all, the God realm outside is too dangerous. With this little power, it's hard to protect myself, I want to be armed to the teeth. Fan Tong and the others looked at Murong Yu with disdain. He already had a rank 10 quasi-saint as his bodyguard, and he still said that it was hard to protect himself? Immediately, Murong Yu used his life force to restore Wenling to rank 10 quasi-saint. After that, Wenling, Fangua, the Fan clan, and the others left Hichu Luoshu to continue searching for prey. Chapter 1047. Fangua, the Fan Clan, and Wen Ling, the 3 10th Order Quasi-Saint. Although this combination could not dominate the Qingyun realm. However, if they wanted to launch a sneak attack, they could easily kill any 10th Order Quasi-Saint. Therefore, when they encountered the second 10th Order Quasi-Saint, Yang Qin, the 3 of them directly launched a sneak attack. Yang Qin, the 10th Order Quasi-Saint, did not even have time to react before she was suppressed by Fangua and the other 2. It was only when her power was sealed that this beautiful 10th Order Quasi-Saint reacted. However, so what if she reacted? She could not escape from Murong Yu's control. Since then, Murong Yu had 2 10th Order Quasi-Saint under his command. 2 10th Order Quasi-Saint. Shengzhen's strength instantly rose from the unrated to the peak of the God realm, similar to the Fan Clan. Moreover, it was only a matter of time before they surpassed the Fan Clan. This was because Murong Yu could not only control 2 Quasi-Saint. Moreover, in the God realm, it was basically impossible to have so many Quasi-Saint. This was because most of the Quasi-Saint were trapped in the Qingyun realm. In the God realm outside, even an ordinary Quasi-Saint could do whatever he wanted. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could not provoke a Quasi-Saint who was stronger than him. 2 10th Order Quasi-Saint. Murong Yu, can you still control them? Fan Tong asked with some anticipation. I can't control the 10th Order Quasi-Saint. However, I should be able to control a few more. Murong Yu said after thinking for a while. The 10th Order Quasi-Saint was too strong. Limited by Murong Yu's current strength, he could not continue to control them. However, he could still control 3 9th Order Quasi-Saint. However, if he could control 3 Quasi-Saints, he would not be able to control more Quasi-Saint. Hence, Murong Yu planned to control a Quasi-Saint of the 9th Order, 2 Quasi-Saints of the 8th Order, and the rest of the Quasi-Saints of the 7th Order. Compared to a Quasi-Saint of the 10th rank, there were more Quasi-Saints of the 9th rank. And there were even more Tier 8 and Tier 7 Quasi-Saint. Hence, not long after Wen Ling and Yang Qin left, they captured a Quasi-Saint of the 9th Order, 2 Quasi-Saints of the 8th Order, and 5 Quasi-Saints of the 7th Order. Although the 2 of them were controlled by Murong Yu, other than Murong Yu and a few others, no one else knew about it. Therefore, even if they returned to Sky Domain City, no one would suspect them. Wen Ling and Yang Qin were bold enough to capture these Quasi-Saint in Sky Domain City. In fact, Murong Yu and the others were also in Sky Domain City, in Fangua's courtyard. 10 Quasi-Saint, 2 Quasi-Saint of the 10th Order, and 1 Quasi-Saint of the 9th Order, 2 Quasi-Saint of the 8th Order, and 5 Quasi-Saint of the 7th Order. This was Murong Yu's current strength. If Abyssal College and the other schools did not have any saints, Murong Yu's current strength would be enough to take them on. Murong Yu, you are now even stronger than the Fan family. Fan Tong looked at Murong Yu enviously. Murong Yu rolled his eyes. When you and second brother Fan become Quasi-Saint, there will be no power in the God realm that can compare to the Fan family. Murong Yu, I've tolerated you for a long time. Can you not call me second brother Fan? I feel like you're calling me an idiot. Fan Gang couldn't help but say this. In fact, ever since Murong Yu had called him that, he had felt helpless. He just hadn't said it out loud. Second brother, that's a good name. Fan Tong laughed. Fan Xiao laughed and said, Second brother, who told you to be the second brother? You should just accept it. Murong Yu laughed, but he wouldn't change the way he called him. This made Fan Gang a little depressed. All right, everyone enter my holy weapon. We will leave Sky Domain now. Murong Yu's face suddenly became serious. Holy leader, can we really leave Sky Domain? Hearing this, Wen Ling and the others were excited. These people were all geniuses. They didn't enter Sky Domain by mistake, but by choice. At first, they wanted to comprehend the legendary technique and become a saint. However, after so many years of cruel reality, Their only wish was to leave Sky Domain while they were still alive. Murong Yu smiled faintly and said, "Whether or not we can leave, we'll find out later." As he spoke, his eyes flashed with cold, killing intent as he looked at Fanguor and the Fan family. He said in a low voice, "Uncle, Auntie, after we leave, should we kill the quasi-saint that ambushed us outside? Hee, although they made my power explosively increase. I won't be grateful to them." Fangua's eyes also flashed with cold light. "If possible, of course we'll kill him. He dared to offend Fangua, I'll kill his entire family." Fangua was a very domineering person. Even if Fan Tong and the others were bullied, he would still kill them. What's more, the experts of the demon race almost killed them all. "Since it's like this, then we'll kill those 10 or so quasi-saints. The god realm outside can't compare to Sky Domain. If those 10 or so quasi-saints fall, I believe it'll be a painful blow to the demon race." As they spoke, Murong Yu and the others had already entered Hichu Luoshu. Then, Murong Yu struck out an obscure hand seal. A force shot out from his hand and into the void of Sky Domain. Immediately, a huge pulling force acted on the Hichu Luoshu and was about to throw him out. At this moment, Murong Yu also felt the transfer point of the outside world again. With a thought, he appeared outside the real Sky Domain, in the demon race's Sky Domain. The Sky Domain was still shrouded in a thick black fog, but it didn't affect Murong Yu's vision. Looking around, Murong Yu saw 10 or so extremely strong white threads crisscrossing in the void. The aura left behind by experts of the quasi-saint's level. A cold light flashed past Murong Yu's eyes. He knew that these people were chasing after them. He just didn't know if they had left Sky Domain yet. Thinking of those people ambushing Fanguor and the others, Murong Yu suddenly thought of a doubt that had appeared before. Why did they ambush Fangua? Before he saw Fangua, he had this doubt. But after entering Sky Domain, he didn't have time to ask immediately. With a thought, Fangua, Wenling, and the others were all released by him. God Realm. I smell the aura of the God Realm. The moment they came out, Wenling and the other experts who had been trapped in Sky Domain for countless eras were all excited. In fact, it wasn't just them. Fan Tong and the others were also very excited. Leaving Sky Domain, which they definitely couldn't leave, was like being reborn. It made them very excited. "Holy Master, we will do our best and serve you wholeheartedly. We will never betray you." After a long time, when Ling and the others calmed down, then came in front of Murong Yu and bowed to Murong Yu. Although they were controlled by Murong Yu, they were no different from normal. They all knew that since Murong Yu had comprehended the cultivation technique that millions of geniuses couldn't comprehend. This in itself meant that Murong Yu was above them in everything. Moreover, that cultivation technique could make one become a sage. In other words, Murong Yu was destined to become a sage. If they followed such a person, they could also become a sage in the future. When a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs can ascend to the heavens. This was what Wenling and the others thought. If they knew about Shenzhen, this thought would be even more firm. This was because most of Shenzhen's disciples had ascended together with Murong Yu from the secular world. After becoming a deity or a god, Murong Yu never left them. It was the same even after becoming a sage. "All right, let's find the quasi-saint of the demon clan and kill them first," Fangua said with a murderous aura. His body swayed, and he was about to soar into the sky. However, he was stopped by Fanshur. "Leave the search to Xiao Yu," Madame Fan said calmly. Fangua looked at Murong Yu hesitantly, his face full of doubt and disbelief. "Whose credit do you think we found this place in such a short time?" Fanshur glared at him and said. The surprise in Fangua's eyes became even more intense. Murong Yu smiled at Fangua, then soared into the sky, then rushed up following the aura left behind by the quasi-saint. The power of the three godheads exploded, and Murong Yu's cultivation level was immediately raised to the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. Then, he spread his angelic wings, and immediately turned into a stream of light, quickly disappearing before everyone's eyes. So fast! Everyone was shocked, and they all chased after him. Fangua and Fansure each grabbed Fangang and Fantong and chased after him. This speed has already surpassed that of a heavenly venerable. It's comparable to a quasi-saint's speed. Many quasi-saint easily caught up with Murongyu, and Wenling sighed. It's still too slow, Murongyu shook his head. The thought of giving Murongyu a good beating emerged in everyone's hearts. He was only a heavenly king, but he already had a speed comparable to a quasi-saint, and he was still not satisfied? The group flew through the heavenly domain, not afraid of encountering any danger. Because the route they took was left behind by the demon clan quasi-saint. However, these demon clan quasi-saint came and went in different directions, which wasted Murongyu's time. It wasn't until a few months later that he saw two demon clan quasi-saint that seemed to be cultivating in the heavenly domain. Without waiting for Fangua to make a move, Wenling and the rest had already rushed out. 10 quasi-saints attacked at the same time, instantly turning the void and earth within a radius of 10 billion miles into dust. Even the spatial turbulence rushed out. The two cultivating demon clan quasi-saint didn't even have time to react before they were blasted into dust, and couldn't be more dead. They didn't even know who had killed them. "Let me go next," Fangua said unhappily, having been beaten to the punch. "Hee, you should give us a chance to perform," Wenling looked at Fangua and said with a smile. "There will be plenty of chances in the future. If you fight with me again, let's duel." Fangua looked at Wenling and the rest with killing intent. Wenling and the rest fell silent. In a duel, neither he nor Yang Qin was a match for Fangua. There was no helping it, although they were both level 10 quasi-saint, there was still a gap. Chapter 1048. More than a dozen quasi-saint level experts had fallen in the Qin-Yun realm. They didn't even know who had killed them. When this news spread, the entire Yao clan, and even the entire God realm, was in an uproar. After all, the God realm was different from the Qin-Yun realm. There were quasi-saint level experts everywhere. In the entire God realm, there might be many quasi-saint level experts, but they were all scattered in their own forces. For example, there were many quasi-saint level experts in the Eldritch continent, but as the biggest force in the Eldritch continent, Primeval College didn't have many quasi-saint level experts. However, the dozens of quasi-saint level experts who had fallen in the Qin-Yun realm were all Celestial Palace experts. The death of more than a dozen quasi-saint level experts was a huge blow to Celestial Palace. The most terrifying thing was that Celestial Palace didn't even know who had killed these experts. However, they knew what these Yao quasi-saint level experts were doing there. Could it be that Fangua and the others had come out of the Qin-Yun realm? Had they killed all these people? Or could it be that the human experts had come and killed them in the Qin-Yun realm? No one knew what had happened. Therefore, in the end, many people thought that the dozens of quasi-saint level experts had fallen into a dangerous place in the Qin-Yun realm and were trapped to death. However, the dozens of quasi-saint level experts had all been trapped to death? Many people had their suspicions. The death of these dozens of quasi-saint level experts was the work of Murongyu and the others. Under the pursuit of Murongyu, the quasi-saint level experts hiding in the Qin-Yun realm had no way of hiding. They were all found by Murongyu. Moreover, Murongyu had 13 quasi-saint level experts on his side. Among them, there were 4 10th level quasi-saint level experts. Even if there were 10th level quasi-saint level experts among the Yao clan's quasi-saint level experts, they wouldn't be able to escape. They didn't even have time to send out a message before they were all killed. Now, let's return to the Yorwild's continent. Murongyu and the others returned to the Hichu Luoshu world after killing all the quasi-saint that had ambushed them. Then, Hichu Luoshu teleported directly to the floating mountain. "What's the situation?" Why are there so many people surrounding the floating mountain? What are they going to do? As soon as they walked out of the Hichu Luoshu, they saw that the floating mountain was surrounded by many layers of people. Some people were even constantly attacking the floating mountain. In an instant, the Fan family was enraged. These people actually had the audacity to attack their floating mountain. They were truly courting death. The furious Fan Tong and the others, and even Fangua, were furious. They were about to attack and kill. However, he was stopped by Madame Fan. Madame Fan said in a deep voice, "Don't make a move yet. Let's find out what happened first." Fangua nodded, and then everyone flew to the Fan family. Then, a disciple of the Fan family was called over. "Patriarch, you guys are really fine. That's great." When he saw Fangua and the others, the disciple of the Fan family was stunned at first. Then, his face was filled with ecstasy and excitement. Seeing his expression, Fangua and the others were puzzled. Fangua immediately glared at him. The disciple of the Fan family was long-winded. He immediately told them about the death of Fangua, Morongyu, and the others. "Those people outside are all trying to snatch the hanging mountain away from us. However, they can't do anything about it. Moreover, I heard that Shenzhen was also destroyed by the Divine Union. The sects of the Dream Wilderness Continent and the Origin Wilderness Continent were completely wiped out. Not a single one was left." As he spoke, the disciple of the Fan family looked at Morongyu. Morongyu was originally sitting on a chair. However, after hearing this news, he immediately jumped out of his chair. His figure flashed, and he directly appeared in front of the disciple of the Fan family. His face was gloomy as he looked at the disciple of the Fan family with a murderous look. He said in a cold voice, "Is what you said true? Who destroyed it?" "There are rumors out there that the Divine Union immediately took action after you died. Shenzhen wasn't a match for the Divine Union at all and was directly destroyed," the disciple of the Fan family said in a low voice. "I'll be back soon." Murongyu's face was grave as he left these words with a murderous look. Then, he disappeared. Dream Wilderness Continent, above the ruins of Shenzhen. Murongyu's face was gloomy as he stepped out of the 9 heavens with a murderous look. The first thing he saw was the flattened Shenzhen. Murongyu's heart, which was already gloomy, sank even deeper at this moment. Boundless murderous intent burst forth. The terrifying murderous intent condensed into a substance. With his body as the center, it swept out in all directions, strangling and destroying the void around him. It was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! Murongyu's figure disappeared once again and reappeared in the Ascension City of the Origin Wilderness Continent. This was the location of Shenzhen's first sect in the Immortal Realm. It was originally built to be the strongest city in the entire Origin Wilderness Continent. However, it no longer looked like a city. Just like Shenzhen in the Dream Wilderness Continent, it had long been flattened. In fact, Morongyu even saw the Ascension platform being destroyed. The Yen Huang Immortal Realm only had one Ascension platform. After the only Ascension platform was destroyed, people from the Yen Huang Immortal Realm could no longer ascend. After all, if there was no Ascension platform in the Immortal Realm, there was no power to guide immortals who wanted to ascend. Naturally, they couldn't break through the barrier of the Immortal Realm and break through the void from the Immortal Realm. Destroying the Ascension platform of the Yen Huang Immortal Realm was equivalent to destroying the Yen Huang Immortal Realm. Divine Union! Murongyu's murderous intent surged and condensed into a substance. It was extremely frightening and terrifying. Jiqing and the others should have already returned to the Immortal Realm, right? However, if I'm really dead, they will probably never be able to ascend after returning to the Immortal Realm. Morongyu thought to himself and disappeared in a flash. He didn't know the situation of Zhao Jiqing and the others at all. Originally, he had Zhao Jiqing and the others' soul jade slip. However, all of their soul jade slips had been destroyed the moment he entered the heaven domain. The heaven domain cut off all communication from the outside world, and no communication from within the heaven domain could be transmitted out. Yan Huang Immortal Realm, in the sky above the southern ridge. Murong Yu's figure appeared out of thin air. His huge divine will immediately spread out and enveloped the entire Shenzhen. Immediately, he frowned slightly. There were a few people missing from Shenzhen. Murong Yu's heart tightened. His huge divine will quickly spread out, with his body as the center, towards the entire immortal realm. Because he was the ruler of the immortal realm, his divine will could directly cover the entire immortal realm. Therefore, he quickly discovered that there were a few people missing from Shenzhen. Murong Xian, Murong Yen, and the others. These fellows had long reached the heavenly king realm. Even in the god realm, they were considered experts. However, they were currently either training outside or pretending to be young to mingle with the juniors of the immortal realm. However, Murong Yu discovered something. Murong Yen and Murong Lin had a small follower by their side. Using the word follower wasn't appropriate. It should be said that they had a guardian. In fact, Murong Yen and Murong Lin never lacked guardians. However, these two people's backgrounds were too frightening. Although many people liked the daughters of the Holy Lord of Shenzhen, they didn't have the guts to do so. They were frightened by their backgrounds. Of course, Murong Yu didn't like these cowards. What future did they have if they were frightened by their backgrounds? Moreover, although they had many guardians in the past, Murong Yen and Murong Lin didn't have such thoughts. Now, Murong Yu saw that the two of them seemed to be interested in the man beside them. If there were no accidents, these two daughters wouldn't have to worry about marriage. However, Murong Xian and Murong Yi gave Murong Yu a headache. These two fellows weren't weak and they weren't young either. However, they still had the mentality of a child and didn't have the intention to find a woman. This was especially true for Murong Yi. Ever since the incident where he was captured by Xian Yu, he had developed a fearful attitude towards women. Other than the women beside him, he didn't want to interact with other women. All of you, come back, Shenzhen. Murong Yu's voice immediately sounded in the ears of Murong Xian and the others. Hearing Murong Yu's voice, Murong Xian and the others were shocked. However, when they reacted, their faces were full of joy. Murong Xian and Murong Yi immediately rushed back. However, Murong Yen and Murong Lin were a little hesitant. Their situation was similar. They both met the man who moved their hearts when they returned to the immortal realm. At this time, they were in a state of passionate love. It was difficult for them to part so suddenly. You can come back with them. If you pass our test, you can get married immediately. As the ruler of the immortal realm, Murong Yu could naturally see the expressions on their faces. He didn't even need to guess to know what they were thinking. Hearing this, the two women's faces immediately flushed red. This scene was immediately seen by the man beside them. The two girls were not in the same place. However, at the same time, under the gaze of Murong Yu, Murong Yen and Murong Lin were already peerless beauties of their generation, and both of them were devastatingly beautiful. They had inherited their mother's beauty, and were originally shy and lovely. Now that they were showing a shy look, the man beside them was stunned. "Little Yen, you are so beautiful," the two men said almost in unison. Hearing the man they liked praise them, Murong Yen and Murong Lin were even more delighted. "My father is out of seclusion. I am going home. Are you coming with me?" Murong Yen looked at the man she liked and asked. "My father is back. I am going back to the sect immediately. Do you want to come with me?" This was what Murong Lin said. "I will go back with you," the two men replied without any hesitation. However, they were only young talents of the immortal realm. If they knew the identity of Murong Yu and the others, would they be scared to retreat? Chapter 1049. Yan Huang Immortal Realm, Nanling, Shenzhen. In the sacred hall, Murong Yu, Zhao Jiqing, and the rest of Murong's family were all gathered here. And in the center of the sacred hall stood 4 people. Gu Sheyang, Su Hegi, Morong Yen, and Morong Lin. Gu Sheyang, the man that Morong Yen liked, was not very strong. He was only a late immortal emperor. And Su Hegi was only an immortal emperor. At this moment, facing Morong Yu and the rest. Morong Yu and the rest had suppressed their cultivation level to the quasi-immortal realm. And they did not give off any aura. But as experts of the immortal realm, they were superior. Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi could not bear the aura of their superiors. Cold sweat trickled down their foreheads. Especially since Morong Yu and the rest were the family members of Morong Yen and Morong Lin, their parents. Now that they were all looking at the two of them, they felt a great deal of pressure. And when they were dating Morong Yen and the rest, they did not know the identity of Morong Yen and the rest. However, from the moment they stepped into the southern ridge, they knew where they had stepped into. Shenzhen was a sacred place for cultivation in the Yen Huang immortal realm. The only sacred place for cultivation in the entire Yen Huang immortal realm. Countless immortals dreamed of joining and becoming a disciple of Shenzhen. Although there were countless sects in the immortal realm, which sect could compare to Shenzhen? In Shenzhen, there were experts ascending to the immortal realm almost every year. Immortal realm. And in the billions of sects in the immortal realm, how many of them had people ascending to the immortal realm? Not to mention a year, even an era might not have people ascending. In Shenzhen, the treatment was excellent. The cultivation techniques were also the best. Even the most trashy cultivation method was at the level of sect-guarding cultivation method in many sects in the immortal world. Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi also hoped to join Shenzhen and become Shenzhen's disciples. It was just that he didn't join them for various reasons. Therefore, when they came to Nanling, they knew the identities of Morong Yen and Morong Lin. However, they only thought that the two of them were just ordinary disciples of Shenzhen. But after entering Shenzhen, they were brought straight to the sanctum. At this point, even an idiot could see that Morong and Yan's identities were not simple. No one spoke in the sacred hall. Morong Yu and the rest looked at Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi indifferently. Other than Morong Yu, the others were constantly sizing up the two of them. Of course, they wouldn't look at him with judgmental eyes. They were just sizing up the two of them to see if they were qualified to be the husband of Morong Yen and Morong Lin. However, Morong Yu was different from them. From the moment Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi entered the sanctum, he had already grasped their minds. Originally, Morong Yu had the ability to read other people's minds. The lower the other party's realm, the easier it was. Therefore, when Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi entered the sanctum, everything in their hearts was seen through by Morong Yu. When looking at a person, no matter how sharp your eyes were, there would be times when you would be wrong. Therefore, there was the saying that distance tests a horse's strength and time reveals a person's heart. However, a person's heart was real and couldn't be disguised. Gu Sheyang, Su Hegi. I'm very satisfied with the two of you. Morong Yu looked at the two of them indifferently and revealed a smile on his face. Everything about the two of them was seen clearly. Their backgrounds were absolutely clean, and it was the first time they liked someone. They had never had anything to do with other women in the past. These weren't what Morong Yu cared about. What he was most concerned about was whether these two people were sincere to Morong Yen and Morong Lin. If he discovered that they were hypocritical, Su Hao definitely wouldn't show mercy. However, fortunately, his two precious daughters had a good eye for people. Both of them were sincere. Hearing Morong Yu's words, everyone present was stunned. They didn't know why Morong Yu suddenly said that. This was a lifelong event for Morong Yen and Morong Lin. He was satisfied with just a few glances? They didn't know Morong Yu's ability. Moreover, this concerned the happiness of Morong Yen and Morong Lin for the rest of their lives. That was why they questioned it. This also showed their concern for Morong Yen and Lin Su. Satisfied? After entering the holy hall, Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi, who had been feeling uneasy, revealed a hint of surprise. Originally, They were still thinking about fighting to the death or something after Morong Yu and the others broke up the couple. But it seemed like there was no need for that now. Morong Yu, Sect Master Shengzhen, was a man of his word. As long as he was satisfied, their matter was basically settled. Morong Yen and Morong Lin, who were originally feeling uneasy, were also overjoyed when they heard Morong Yu's words. Morong agreed just like that? Big hooligan, do the two of them still need to be tested? Little man, you're too hasty. If these two people aren't good people, wouldn't that ruin little Yen and little Lin's lifelong happiness? Almost at the same time, the voices of Zhao Jiqing, Yu Mengqing, and Morong Yu sounded in Morong Yu's ears. You guys need time to see a person's heart, but I can see through their hearts directly. These two little guys were just thinking that if we broke up the couple, they would fight to the death. Believe me, I'm very satisfied with them, Morong Yu said with a smile. Looking at the happy faces of Gu Shiyang, Su Hegi, and the other two, Morong Yu spoke again and said plainly, although I agree to your relationship. You can't get married in a short period of time and you can't have a deeper relationship. Otherwise, as he spoke, a cold light flashed in Morong Yu's eyes. Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi's hearts were instantly enveloped by an extremely strong aura of death. Immediately, their hearts tightened and they quickly said, "Uncle, please enlighten us." The others were also shocked and looked at Morong Yu in surprise. Just now, Morong Yu did have the intention to kill. If Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi really did something to betray Morong Yen and Morong Lin, he would definitely not be lenient. Morong Yu would never allow his children to be betrayed. Shengzhen is the cultivation holy land of the immortal world, and we're not weak even in the God realm. We can move unhindered in the God realm. Soon, I will unify the entire God realm. Looking at Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi, Morong Yu's expression was calm as he continued speaking. Because I wasn't in the God realm for a while, Shengzhen was forced to return to Shengzhen from the God realm. If it weren't for the two of you, I would have led the Glory Sect's experts back to the God world a long time ago. I would have killed every single one of our enemies, and their blood would flow like a river. Do you know their strength? Morong Yu pointed at Morong Yen and Morong Lin and asked. Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi quickly shook their heads. They're both in the Heavenly King realm. Do you know what it means to be in the Heavenly King realm? The Heavenly King realm in the God realm is the same as the Immortal King in the immortal world. You're only in the Immortal Emperor realm. The gap between your strength and little Yen and little Lin's is too big. Of course, I won't despise you because of the difference in strength, and I believe little Lin and little Yen won't either. But have you thought about it? Immortal emperors only have a lifespan of 500 billion years, but a heavenly king's lifespan has already reached 100 million eras. The gap between your lifespan is too big. I won't let my precious daughter marry someone who has a shorter lifespan than her by countless years. Therefore, if you really want to be with little Yen or little Lin, I won't stop you. But if you want to get married, you must at least be in the same realm as little Yen and little Lin. At least, the difference in lifespan can't be too small. Otherwise, I'll never agree to you being together. The gap between a heavenly king and an immortal emperor. After listening to Morong Yu's words, Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi suddenly felt bitter. However, the two of them were also people with tenacious hearts. After the initial bitter struggle, they steeled themselves. Gu Shiyang looked at Morong Yu with a solemn expression and said word by word, "Uncle, perhaps my strength isn't enough to enter your eyes, or perhaps my aptitude isn't very good. But I have a firm heart. I, Gu Shiyang, swear today that if I don't reach the same realm as little Yen, I'll never mention marrying her. However, if one day I reach that level, I hope that uncle, auntie, and big brothers will allow me to marry Xiaoyan." Before Gu Shiyang could finish his sentence, Su Hegi continued. However, he only said a few words, "Uncle, aunts, brothers, I'm sorry. I, Su Hegi, will work hard to cultivate. I won't let little Lin and all of you down." This is my promise. Without resources, without the guidance of a master, how can you improve your cultivation so quickly? With your aptitude, I'm afraid little Yen and little Lin will have already become saints by the time you become gods. The gap between you will only grow bigger. Father! Murong Yen and Murong Lin finally couldn't help but speak. According to Murong Yu's words, wouldn't they never be able to be together? Murong Yen and the rest had Murong Yu to take care of them. It was inevitable that they would ascend to the holy world and reach the immortal realm. But it might not be the case for Gu Shiyang and Su Hegi. They might not even be able to become gods before their lifespan ran out. Murong Yu looked at Murong Yen and Murong Lin with a smile. Are you planning to let them join Shenzhen? Or even become my disciple? Murong Yen and Murong Lin blushed. This was exactly what they were thinking. However, Murong Yu caught it. It's not a problem for you to join Shenzhen. I will also focus on nurturing you. After you become gods, I will bring you to the divine world. However, you are not qualified to become my disciple. Gu Sheyang and Su Hegi were overjoyed and quickly thanked him. As for becoming Murong Yu's disciple, Li Ling was half a disciple. In fact, Murong Yu had never been able to find a satisfactory disciple. Alright, you can leave first. Murong Yu ordered Gu Sheyang and Li Ling to leave. After settling the matter between the two of them, it was time for revenge. The divine union would be uprooted by Murong Yu. Chapter 1050. Are we going to kill our way back to the divine realm now? Are we going to take revenge on the divine union? Zhao Jiqing and the others looked hesitant after hearing Murong Yu's words. They had all seen how strong the divine union was. If Murong Yu wanted to take revenge, it would be like hitting a rock with an egg. Shenzhen was the egg while the divine union was the rock. The two of them were not on the same level at all. Of course, if Murong Yu used his connections, it would be very easy to destroy the divine union. Of course, this was because they did not know how strong Murong Yu really was. Although the divine union was strong, they only needed to send out one quasi-saint. A quasi-sage was enough to annihilate the entire divine union and leave no one alive. We have to take revenge. We have to do it ruthlessly. We have to kill everyone in the divine union. Furthermore, we have to rely on Shenzhen's strength. It's time to make an example out of them. Otherwise, some people will think that Shenzhen is a pushover. Murong Yu's eyes flashed coldly as his killing intent surged. Although they had been surrounded by the divine union, Zhao Jiqing and the others had not been injured. However, hundreds of thousands of Shenzhen's disciples had been killed. In the end, they had been forced to retreat to the immortal realm, and even the ascension platform had been destroyed. The divine union was too ruthless. If they did not kill them all, Murong Yu would not be able to quell the anger in his heart. After all, the divine union did not just want to destroy Shenzhen's orthodoxy. They also wanted to destroy the orthodoxy of the Yan Huang immortal realm. Without the ascension platform, the people of the Yan Huang immortal realm would not be able to become immortals in the future. In this way, how could there be people from the Yan Huang immortal realm in the divine realm? However, the divine union is too strong. Shenzhen is no match for them. Should we conserve our energy first? Yu Mengqing said with a frown. Don't worry. Although I almost couldn't make it back this time, I'm still quite confident. However, I have 10 quasi-saints under my control, and 2 of them are 10th-order quasi-saints. This is the true strength of our Shenzhen. Are there any forces in the God realm that our Shenzhen doesn't dare to touch? Murong Yu's heart was filled with confidence. 10 quasi-saint? And 2 of them are level 10 quasi-saint? Zhao Jiqing and the others were shocked. Murong Yu lightly nodded his head and gave a brief account of his trip to the heavenly domain. After hearing this, Zhao Jiqing and the others still had lingering fears. This time, if Murong Yu didn't happen to comprehend the swordsman character, he would never be able to leave the heaven domain. And if Murong Yu didn't leave the heaven domain, Shenzhen and the others would never be able to ascend to the God realm. They would eventually die of exhaustion. Of course, if they could become saints, they might be able to ascend to the immortal realm. However, it was difficult to become saints in the God realm, let alone in the immortal realm. The heaven-earth yuan qi of the immortal realm was useless to them. Those who were originally in the God realm will gather in Shenzhen within a year. At the same time, because the immortal ascension platform will be destroyed, even if they cross the God realm, they won't be able to ascend. Therefore, spread the news of the immortal ascension platform's destruction. Let the entire immortal realm know. Murong Yu ordered in a low voice. Most of the people from Shenzhen who had come down from the God realm were in Shenzhen. When they heard that Murong Yu had returned safely, they were all overjoyed and excited. When they heard that Murong Yu was going to take them to the God realm for revenge, they were all indescribably excited. Some of the people who were wandering in the immortal realm even rushed back to Shenzhen, afraid that they would miss the opportunity to take revenge. Shenzhen didn't have any problems. However, the destruction of the immortal ascension platform created many problems. There were still many quasi-gods in the immortal realm. This was especially true after Murong Yu became the master of the immortal realm. More and more quasi-gods appeared. Of course, most of the quasi-gods appeared in Shenzhen. Moreover, the destruction of the immortal ascension platform would affect the future of the immortal realm. Therefore, when they heard that the immortal ascension platform had been destroyed, many people in the immortal realm couldn't remain calm. One by one, they rushed to Shenzhen in the southern mountains to see Murong Yu and beg him to fix the immortal ascension platform. However, Murong Yu didn't meet any of these people. He didn't have the time or the mood. And he wasn't interested. As the ruler of the Yen Huang immortal realm, building the immortal ascension platform was something he had to do. However, he didn't have the ability now. The immortal ascension platform wasn't something that could be built on a whim. It was much more troublesome than a teleportation design. However, Murong Yu could build a teleportation design now. At the very least, Shenzhen's people could ascend to the God realm. As for the others, who wanted to ascend to the God realm, then they could only join Shenzhen. However, Shenzhen's requirements were getting higher and higher. Not everyone, especially those with extraordinary talent, would be accepted by Shenzhen. What Shenzhen wanted was loyalty. Absolute loyalty to Shenzhen. Moreover, Murong Yu's formation character art was getting stronger and stronger. He could see through a person's heart with a single glance. Therefore, he deliberately left a power clone in the celestial world's sage sect. This strength clone wasn't used for battle, but to test the new disciples. Only through this strength clone's consideration could one join Shenzhen. This saved Shenzhen a lot of trouble. This was because this strength clone had the ability to read minds. As long as he looked at one, it would be clear whether one was loyal to Shenzhen or not. Murong Yu even wanted to eliminate Shenzhen. After all, most of Shenzhen were loyal, but there were always a few scum. However, Murong Yu didn't make a move in the end. These people, under his eyes, could not cause any trouble at all. If they really did anything to Shenzhen, Murong Yu could kill them with a single thought. Holy Master! The Divine Union is too much of a bully. This time we have to kill them all. We have to wipe them out completely. The people of Shenzhen, who had originally retreated from the divine world, were gathered in a huge square in Shenzhen. When they saw Murong Yu appear, they all shouted with murderous intent. Murong Yu gestured with his hands as he looked at the raging crowd. Immediately, everyone calmed down. A sect that had been going smoothly definitely wasn't united enough. Only a sect that had gone through trials and tribulations could become more cohesive. After being chased down to the divine world by the divine union, the unity of Shenzhen's disciples had reached an unprecedented level. It was very scary. Why is the reputation of the big pervert so strong? Kurlan, who was standing beside Zhao Jiqing and the other two girls, said. She had been in seclusion and had only been caught by Murong-yu today. This made her very unhappy with Murong-yu. However, Kurlan was even more surprised when she saw the Shenzhen's disciples twisting together like a rope. Compared to Shenzhen back in the dream wilderness, she was even more surprised. At that time, Shenzhen's disciples had also been extremely cohesive. They had also been like a rope. However, the rope today was even more solid than before. This is just a sect. However, the Lan family is far from comparable. Although the Lan family seems to be peaceful, there are always people vying for power in the dark. However, Shenzhen basically doesn't have such a situation. The big pervert is definitely in control, Kurlan thought to herself as she looked at Murong-yu with even more infatuation. The divine union forced us back to the immortal world and destroyed our ascension platform. This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. Your anger will burn the 9 heavens and burn the divine union to the ground. Burn it to the ground. Kill them all. Everyone roared in unison as a terrifying aura erupted, causing the entire sky to tremble. These people were all gods. Even the weakest gods would cause great damage to the immortal world if they all unleashed their aura. However, there were millions of gods here. If all of them unleashed their aura, the entire immortal world would probably collapse. Murong-yu jumped in fright. He pressed his hand down, and an incomparably large amount of energy surged out, suppressing the pressure that had erupted from the crowd. Otherwise, the entire Shenzhen and even the entire immortal world would be shattered. When that happened, blood would flow like a river. At the same time, the Hichu Luoshu opened up and a huge suction force immediately acted on these people. These people didn't resist and were directly sucked into the Hichu Luoshu. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. At the same time, Murong-yu, Zhao Jiqing, and the others also entered the Hichu Luoshu world. Then, they left the immortal world and reappeared in the divine world in the Void Continent. Primeval College. Murong-yu appeared directly beside Qin Xiaowei in Primeval College. Qin Xiaowei was shocked and almost jumped out of his skin. "You rascal!" However, before Qin Xiaowei could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Murong-yu. "Qin Xiaowei, I have a task for you. Find out all the branches of the Divine Union as soon as possible, as well as the whereabouts of the upper echelons." Qin Xiaowei felt bitter. "You have been missing for so long and I have been worried about you for so long. You should at least comfort me. Now that you are out, you want me to suffer? When the time comes, you will benefit greatly. The Divine Union's treasury is probably much richer than the Shadowless Organization and the Blood Sect." Murong-yu looked at Qin Xiaowei as he spoke. "Alright, that's enough. However, when the time comes, are you going to steal their treasury or kill all of them? Leave no one alive?" Murong-yu said with a murderous look. Qin Xiaowei frowned. "Your strength? Do you need our help? Hee. How about we charge a friendship price?" Murong-yu shook his head. "No need. You just have to find out what I need. If you need any resources, just say the word." Qin Xiaowei nodded. "Then send me back to the Ghost Branch." "That's right, Xiao Xian. Do you want to see her? During this period of time, she has also been suffering." Murong-yu pondered for a moment before saying, "I will send you back to the branch first. I will see her again later." Then, Murong-yu brought Qin Xiaowei back to the Ghost Branch. After sending Qin Xiaowei back, Murong-yu immediately left the Ghost Branch and headed to the Divine Union's headquarters. If he wanted to wipe them all out in one fell swoop, he had to set up a teleportation point at the Divine Union's headquarters. This was the only way to achieve the greatest efficiency and exterminate the Divine Union in the shortest time possible. Chapter 1051. Although the Divine Union wasn't an assassin organization, most sects would have a few branches in other places besides their headquarters. They would either control a certain area or have a property somewhere. The Divine Union had many properties in the Divine Realm. However, Given Murong Yu's current situation, it was impossible for him to find out the location of all the Divine Union branches in a short time. Therefore, he could only rely on the Ghost Assassin Organization. This was the #1 assassin organization in the Divine Realm, so its ability was very terrifying. When Murong Yu arrived at the Divine Union headquarters, Qin Xiaowei, who was in the Ghost Assassin Organization, had already investigated all the Divine Union branches. Murong Yu didn't stay at the Divine Union headquarters. Now wasn't the time to destroy the Divine Union headquarters. Therefore, he only left a few transportation points near the Divine Union headquarters before returning to the Ghost Assassin Organization. The Divine Union has a total of 100 branches in the Divine Realm. These are the locations of their branches. As he spoke, Qin Xiaowei shot out a beam of light and sent it into Murong Yu's body. Suddenly, a rough map of the Divine Realm appeared in Murong Yu's mind. The 100 light spots on the map were flickering continuously. These light spots were the branches of the Divine Union. The branches of the Divine Union are very far from each other. However, this shouldn't be a problem for you. However, most of their higher-ups are in the headquarters or the branches. However, a portion of them are in various parts of the Divine Realm. The whereabouts of these people are erratic, so it is difficult to determine their whereabouts immediately. At this point, Qin Xiaowei pondered for a moment before saying, "If these people are still on the run after you destroy the Divine Union, you can post a bounty in the Ghost Assassin Organization. It won't be difficult to eliminate them completely." Murong Yu nodded and left the Ghost Assassin Organization. The 100 branches were very far from each other. Furthermore, the Divine Realm was too big. Murong Yu had been to too few places. Murong Yu had only been to a few of the 100 branches of the Divine Union. However, these 100 branches were at least in the prehistoric continent. Moreover, there was never a lack of teleportation arrays between every major city in the prehistoric continent. But even so, Murong Yu still took several years to complete 100 teleportation arrays. In truth, he wasn't the only one who did it this time. When Ling, Yangqin, and the rest of the 10 people under his control all left Hichu Luoshu, they took the teleportation points given to them by Murong Yu and rushed towards the teleportation formations designated by Murong Yu. Even so, it had taken several years. One could imagine how difficult it would be for the other factions to make a move on the Divine Union. Of course, it would be a different story if countless powerhouses from a certain faction surrounded all the Divine Union's branches before making a move. While Murong Yu was setting up teleportation points in the various branches of the Divine Union, the Fan family on the floating mountain was silent. "Father, why do we have to wait until the Divine Union is destroyed before taking action?" On this day, Fan Tong asked Fanguo in confusion. There were many people outside the floating mountain. They had surrounded the floating mountain tightly and were constantly bombarding it with attacks. Fan Tong and the rest were furious when they saw these people. They couldn't wait to kill them all immediately. However, Fanguo didn't make a move. "We didn't wait until the Divine Union was destroyed before taking action. Instead, we took action when Murong Yu made a move on the Divine Union. The strength of the Fan family is well known in the Divine Realm. This time, I want the entire Divine Realm to know that we didn't help Murong Yu." Fan Tong still didn't understand. This time, when Ling and the rest will definitely be exposed when Murong Yu makes a move on the Divine Union. When that happens, won't outsiders know that they aren't part of the Fan family? Do you think the Divine Realm will believe that? Given the relationship between Murong Yu and us, they will definitely think that when Ling and the rest are disguised by us. As for the others, they will also think that we asked them to help us. After thinking about it, Fan Tong also understood. Fanguo wanted to help Murong Yu ascend to the high position of the Divine Realm Master. If there was anyone who could unify the Divine Realm and become the Master of the Divine Realm, it would only be Murong Yu. As long as his strength increased and he controlled the heaven domain, then the millions of quasi-saint experts in the heaven domain would be under his control. Murong Yu would definitely become the master of the divine realm. However, before that, Murong Yu had to make a name for himself in the divine realm. Otherwise, even if he unified the divine realm, he would only be able to use force to subdue them. The Divine Union headquarters was actually a huge city. It was named Divine Union. In the Divine Union city, most of the people were from the Divine Union. The rest were doing business in the city or passing by. Whoosh! Suddenly, 11 people appeared in the sky above the Divine Union city. Who dares to fly in the sky above the Divine Union city? Get down here! The moment the 11 people appeared, an angry roar erupted from the Divine Union city. At the same time, a huge hand stretched out from the Divine Union city and slapped towards the 11 people in the sky. Heavenly Venerate Realm? You really don't know what death is. One of the 11 people sneered and pointed his finger. Poof! Before his finger could touch it, the big hand had already burst apart and turned into powder. However, the finger didn't stop at all and continued to press down. Poof! The finger pierced through the void and pressed on a heavenly venerate elite who was sitting on the ground in the Divine Union city. The heavenly venerate elite had a horrified look on his face when he was poked by the finger and turned into a bloody mist. A peak heavenly venerate had actually been poked by a finger? Quasi-saint. Everyone who saw this scene was shocked. Which force was going to attack the Divine Union? They had actually mobilized the Divine Union. While countless people were shocked, the 11 people in the sky took a step forward. In a flash, they were already standing in 10 different positions, surrounding the Divine Union city in the void. 11 people surrounding a huge city. It was funny to say this out loud. However, at this moment, everyone in the Divine Union city felt the same way. After standing still in the void, the 10 people in the void made their moves at the same time. Their hands were constantly waving as they formed hand seals. Hand seals were constantly shot out of their hands and eventually disappeared into the Divine Union city. Immediately, the people in the Divine Union city felt that all the transportation arrays in the city had been sealed. Furthermore, a huge, transparent, invisible cover enveloped the entire Divine Union city. Everyone below, listen up. I am Murong Yu, the master of Shenzhen, the legendary fallen man. I have come here to destroy the Divine Union. If you are not from the Divine Union, leave the Divine Union city immediately. You only have 1 hour. After that, you will be killed without mercy. In the void, Murong Yu, who was standing beside Wen Ling, suddenly shouted. His vigorous voice rang out in the entire Divine Union city and in everyone's ears. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Before Murong Yu's voice had even died down, many people had already taken to the sky and were about to rush out. However, they realized that all directions seemed to have been sealed. They could not break through at all. In the end, they realized that they could leave from the side where Murong Yu was standing. Therefore, countless people rushed in that direction and left the Divine Union city. Didn't Murong Yu and the Fan family perish in the heaven region? Was he killed by the reincarnations of the devil race? How did he come back to life? Are you an idiot? He did not perish at all. Perhaps he is trapped somewhere in the heaven region. Those dead quasi-saint demons might have been killed by Murong Yu. The Divine Union actually forced Murong Yu's Shenzhen to flee back to the immortal world. Now, he is here for revenge. Hurry up and leave the Divine Union city. Are these all quasi-saint demons? This is too terrifying. Where did Murong Yu find these helpers? Are they all experts from the Fan family? Who cares who they are? If you don't leave, you will die here. Wen Ling looked at Murong Yu in confusion as she watched people rush out from under her feet. Aren't these people from the Divine Union? If there are people from the Divine Union mixed in with the crowd, wouldn't they have all left? Murong Yu smiled faintly. No one from the divine union can escape. As he spoke, he suddenly pointed at a heavenly emperor who had rushed out and said, "He is from the divine union. Kill him." Wen Ling flicked her finger without hesitation. Suddenly, a ray of light shot out. PFFF, that heavenly emperor realm powerhouse did not know what was going on at all. His entire person had already exploded into a cloud of bloody mist. That. Murong Yu's face was indifferent as he pointed at several people. Wen Ling attacked at the same time and those people were all killed. I know who is from the divine union and who isn't. Therefore, if you don't want to die early, stay in the divine union city obediently, Murong Yu said indifferently after pointing out hundreds of divine union disciples. Seeing this, the people from the divine union felt a chill in their hearts. Murong Yu, you killed the innocent. Those people are clearly not from the divine union. A powerhouse shouted angrily. Kill the people from the divine union. Murong Yu glanced at him and shouted coldly. Wen Ling immediately jabbed out with her finger. That powerhouse was about to continue speaking when Wen Ling's finger caused him to explode. More than half an hour has already passed. Once the time is up, everyone in the divine union city will die. Murong Yu's voice was like the Grim Reaper's urging. Countless people who had yet to rush out of the divine union city hurriedly fled. Murong Yu, you actually dare to come to the divine union city? You are really courting death. At that moment, the divine union master finally appeared. He rose into the air and faced Murong Yu from afar. His face was full of anger and resentment. Murong Yu only glanced at him indifferently before looking at the young man beside him. Then, a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 1052. Bring him over, Murong Yu suddenly said to Wen Ling as he looked at the young man beside the divine union master. Wen Ling immediately extended his large hand and grabbed at the young man across the air. The divine union master was enraged. He instantly raised his power to the maximum and threw a punch at Wen Ling's large hand. However, he was only a peak heavenly venerate. The gap between him and level 10 quasi-saint couldn't be described with words. The moment his large hand struck out, Wen Ling's large hand had already grabbed the shocked young man and brought him in front of Murong Yu. What are you trying to do? I am the young master of the divine union. The young man shouted as he looked at Murong Yu and Wen Ling in fear. Murong Yu smiled. I know that you are the young master of the divine union. However, do you know how the two young masters of the divine union before you died? They died at my hands. The young master of the divine union was frightened when he saw Murong Yu's devilish smile. Murong Yu, what are you trying to do? The divine union master roared. However, he was afraid of Wen Ling and his quasi-saint and didn't dare take a step forward. Killing, Murong Yu said indifferently as he threw a punch. Then, he threw a punch. Boom. The young master of the divine union had already had his power sealed when he had been captured by Wen Ling. Now that Murong Yu had thrown a punch at him, he simply couldn't retaliate before he was turned into a bloody mist by Murong Yu's punch. The third young master of the divine union had also died at the hands of Murong Yu. Since the start of the era, 3 young masters of the divine union had already died at the hands of Murong Yu. You are courting death. The divine union master roared as he took a step forward and charged at Murong Yu. Murong Yu's eyes flashed coldly. Kill everyone from the divine union. Leave no one alive. However, do not destroy this city. This city will be Shenzhen's sect. Boom. Before Murong Yu could finish his words, Wen Ling and the other 10 quasi-saints simultaneously attacked. Wen Ling's fist landed on the Divine Union Alliance master's body. There was no doubt about the disparity in strength. The Divine Union master was blasted into a bloody mist. At the same time, the rest of the quasi-saint experts also unleashed their terrifying power. Streams of power erupted from their bodies like a torrent, directly controlling the entire Divine Union city. Bang, bang, bang. Under the control of the 10 quasi-saint powerhouses, their power accurately bombarded the bodies of the Divine Union disciples. Regardless of whether they were peak heavenly venerables or true gods, none of them could withstand the attack and exploded into pieces. For a moment, clouds of blood mist exploded continuously. It was as brilliant as fireworks, but it was incomparably miserable. The 10 quasi-saints had massacred a city that did not even have half a quasi-saints. It was simply a one-sided victory. In less than half a day, countless Divine Union disciples in the entire Divine Union city had been killed. Apart from Morongyu, Wenling, and the other 10, there was no one left alive. The Divine Union headquarters had been destroyed. It had been destroyed in less than half a day. After destroying the Divine Union headquarters, Wenling and the others used their great abilities to wipe away all traces of blood, limbs, and flesh in the entire city. Then, the entire city looked brand new. Even the smell of blood was gone. Murongyu's mind moved and countless powerhouses of the Shenzhen appeared out of thin air. They were released by Morongyu from the Hichu Luoshu. This is the Divine Union headquarters. However, the Divine Union headquarters has been completely uprooted by me. Not a single chicken or dog was spared. From now on, the Divine Union City will no longer exist. It will be renamed the Sacred City. It will be the Shenzhen's sect in the Divine Realm. Murongyu's voice rang out in the Shenzhen's group. Instantly, the Shenzhen's group cheered loudly. They admired Murongyu even more. Of course, many people felt that it was a pity. They had not been able to take part in this battle. In fact, Murongyu had also wanted the Shenzhen's disciples to take part in this battle. However, the gap between the Shenzhen and the Divine Union was too big. If they were allowed to fight, less than 10% of the Shenzhen's disciples would have survived. After all, the Shenzhen's group was only at the True God, and Sky God realm. Only Zhao Jiqing and the 100,000 members of her team had reached the Heavenly King realm. Yang Qin, you will take charge of the sacred city for the time being. Kill anyone who dares to attack the sacred city. Murongyu left the Shenzhen's group here to build and left Yang Qin behind. Then, he led Wenling and the rest out of the Divine Union headquarters. After a few moments, they appeared in a branch of the Divine Union. This branch was different from the Divine Union headquarters. The Divine Union headquarters was a huge city with countless outsiders living in it. However, this branch was like a gang in a certain city. The people living in it were all members of the Divine Union. Therefore, Morongyu and the rest killed them the moment they arrived. The people in the Divine Union branch were all killed before they could even react. After killing these people, Morongyu could not be bothered to enter their treasury to collect the treasures. Instead, he got Wenling to use her great mystique to move their treasury into the Hichu Luoshu world. Less than an hour had passed since they had appeared, destroyed the Divine Union branch, and uprooted their treasury. It had been such a short time that the people in the Divine Union branch only reacted after Morongyu and the rest had left. The Divine Union branch has been destroyed? What's going on? Did you see clearly who destroyed the Divine Union branch? I didn't see clearly, but it seemed like there were 10 people? Just 10 people destroyed the Divine Union branch? Who were those people? How could they be so terrifying? They were able to destroy the Divine Union branch so quickly. Could all of them be powerhouses at the level of quasi-saint? The Divine Union branch has many heavenly venerate powerhouses overseeing it. We didn't even see anyone resist. What's that? More and more people gathered around, discussing animatedly. Their faces were full of shock. Suddenly, someone pointed to the front and exclaimed. Everyone looked towards the source of the sound. A black flag about the height of a person, embroidered with the word Saint, was floating down from the sky. Saint flag? Everyone had a strange look on their faces. As their spiritual consciousness swept over, someone exclaimed, Primal Chaos Shenzhen? Isn't that the sect of Morong Yu that was forced back to the immortal realm by the divine union? Could it be that Morong Yu is still alive and has returned to take revenge? Perhaps Morong Yu has really returned to take revenge. However, where did he get so many powerhouses? Everyone was puzzled. While everyone was puzzled, Morong Yu had already led Wen Ling and the rest to the vicinity of the Divine Union branch. Just like the first Divine Union branch, he had only taken a short time to grab the treasures and leave. After Morong Yu left, a black flag floated down from the sky. It was a saint flag. It was Shengzhen's flag. Morong Yu had thrown it down before leaving. This was his declaration to the entire Divine Union that he had returned. At the same time, it was also the first step in pushing Shengzhen to the entire Divine Union. He wanted to spread Shengzhen's name in this battle. In the near future, Shengzhen's status in the Divine Union would be the same as in the Yen Huang Immortal Realm. He would be the sacred cultivation ground of the Divine Union, the existence that controlled the Divine Union. In an hour, Morong Yu could wipe out 2 Divine Union branches. In 2 hours, he could wipe out 4 Divine Union branches. There were 24 hours in a day. In one day, Morong Yu had wiped out almost 50 Divine Union branches. In just 2 days, the 100 branches of the Divine Union had been destroyed by Morong Yu. Not a single one was left. Holy flags fluttered in the wind wherever they passed. In 2 days, the Divine Union had been completely wiped out. Apart from a few powerhouses who had gone out, no one was left alive. Everyone had been killed. At the same time, Morong Yu's actions had completely shocked the Divine Union. Morong Yu had returned and wiped out the Divine Union in one fell swoop. Shengzhen's powerful appearance had become a household name overnight. Shengzhen had at least 10 quasi-saint level powerhouses. These powerhouses only listened to Morong Yu's orders. Where had Morong Yu found so many powerhouses? Everyone was puzzled. At the same time, countless people flocked to the sacred city. They wanted to see if the powerhouses of the sacred city were as powerful as the legends said. Many people also wanted to see how powerful the legendary chaotic Shengzhen, who had wiped out the Divine Union in 2 days, was. In the sacred city, 10 extremely powerful auras had been shrouding the entire city. These auras were not oppressive. They only showed how powerful they were. Many quasi-saint powerhouses had confirmed their existence after arriving in the sacred city. There were 10 quasi-saint powerhouses. Furthermore, they were all high-level quasi-saint powerhouses. In an instant, Shengzhen had gone from being unknown to one of the top powers in the Divine Union. It had even surpassed the Fan family. After all, the Fan family only had 3 quasi-saint powerhouses, while Shengzhen had 10 quasi-saint powerhouses. The weakest of them was a level 7 quasi-saint. The sacred city had immediately become one of the powers that couldn't be offended. Morong Yu was even more domineering than Fanguo. After wiping out the Divine Union's headquarters and all its branches, Shengzhen had once again issued a bounty to the Divine Union's largest assassin organization, Ghost. At the same time, he had also issued a high bounty in the entire Divine Union to kill anyone who was on the run. He was ruthless and merciless, cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots. While everyone was lamenting Morong Yu's power and dominance, many people were also shocked by Shengzhen's shocking wealth. In fact, the bounty had been issued using the Divine Union's financial resources. Furthermore, Morong Yu had no lack of sacred meridians and various materials. If he didn't have any, he could just empty the treasury of a certain power. Morong Yu had long wanted to empty the treasury of the sacred sect, the Heavenly Punisher Palace, the Immortal Palace, and the Devil Sect. He had just never had the time. When Morong Yu had launched an all-out attack on the Divine Union, the Fan family of the Floating Mountain had also made their move. Chapter 1053. Outside the Floating Mountain, countless experts had gathered. Whether it was in the void or on the ground, there were experts everywhere. Even though many years had passed, these people had never given up on the floating mountain. In fact, even after many years, no one had been able to get close to the floating mountain. On this day, 3 towering auras suddenly erupted from the hanging mountain. The terrifying aura instantly erupted from the floating mountain, drowning the entire void mountain. Then, with the floating mountain as the center, it spread out in all directions. Bang! 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 Some of the experts closer to the floating mountain did not even have time to react before they were drowned by the tide-like aura. An extremely strong aura of death instantly annihilated them. Immediately, these people were shocked and wanted to escape. However, as soon as they thought of escaping, they exploded into a cloud of blood mist. In less than an instant, countless experts were blown up. 3 quasi-saint experts, especially 2 10th-level quasi-saint experts, attacked at the same time. Even heavenly venerables could not withstand the violent aura. Retreat quickly! At the sight of this terrifying aura, the faces of the countless experts in the hanging mountain changed drastically. Howling in their hearts, they took to their heels and fled at top speed. How dare you offend the floating mountain and the Fan family? You must be tired of living. Today, all of you will die here. Fangua's voice rang out from the distant hanging mountain. Along with the horrifying sound wave attack, the void was shattered into pieces wherever it passed by. Some of the weaker ones, even those in the celestial venerate realm, were blasted into smithereens by the impact of the sound. Puff, with just one sentence, hundreds of thousands of experts were killed. However, this was definitely not Fangua's last resort. He had always been a man of his word. Since he said that he would make everyone stay, he would naturally do as he said. Before he finished speaking, 3 large hands reached out from the floating mountain. They expanded with the wind and instantly covered the entire sky. With a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth, they slammed down. Rumble! The 3 large hands almost covered all the experts outside the floating mountain. However, among these people, there was no quasi-saint level existence at all. The strongest was only a peak heavenly venerable. Fan Shao's realm was the lowest, but he was still a stage 5 quasi-saint. Therefore, with a single slap, more than 90% of the countless experts surrounding the floating mountain were slapped to death. Fangua and the others were afraid that these people did not have the 4 absolutes, so they immediately sent out several palm strikes. The remaining countless experts were slapped to death. Whoosh! 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 Within the floating mountain, Fangua, the Fan clan, and Fan Shao all stepped out and stood outside the floating mountain. Then, Fan Tong and Fan Gang also flew out. These are all resources. What are the disciples of the Fan family waiting for? Looking at the godhoods and storage rings floating in the air, Fan Tong was unable to contain his joy. Immediately, the disciples of the Fan family, who had been suppressing their anger for a long time, rushed out of the floating mountain and began to clean up the battlefield. Although they couldn't participate in the battle, cleaning up the battlefield was still an exciting thing. Fangua and the other 2 made a powerful move, announcing their return to the God realm. In one fell swoop, they destroyed the rumors of their death. Previously, there had always been rumors that the Fan family and Murong Yu were ambushed by the Goblin Quasi-Saint in the Heaven region and were killed. However, Murong Yu and the Fan family's powerful move directly shattered those rumors. This caused countless people to curse those who spread the rumors, and they were all very nervous. This was especially true of the organizations that had people outside of the hanging mountain. They were scared out of their wits, afraid that Fangua and the others would find them and kill them all with a single slap. When the news of Murong Yu and the Fan family's appearance was sent back to the Goblin race, some of the Goblin race were already certain that the quasi-saint who died in the Heaven region must have been killed by Murong Yu and the others. Although they were furious, and wanted nothing more than to kill Murong Yu and the others. However, who would dare to make a move now? Murong Yu wasn't strong, but he had 10 quasi-saints by his side. And Fangua had 2 quasi-saints. Moreover, after the first time, how could Fangua and the others fall for the same trick again? If they wanted to kill them, they would have to gather dozens of quasi-saints experts, sneak over, and kill them in one fell swoop. However, how could they get close to the floating mountain and the holy city? And once their identities were exposed, dozens of quasi-saints, or even hundreds of quasi-saints, would be left in human territory forever. This was an incomparably huge loss, and it was a result that the goblin race couldn't bear. Therefore, the goblin race temporarily didn't make a move against Murong Yu and the Fan family. Those forces that were outside the floating mountain prepare resources that we are satisfied with within 100 years, or else they will all be killed, and not a single one will be left alive. Less than a day after exterminating the experts outside the Hanging Mountain, the Fan clan announced that they were coming. In one night, this news spread throughout the God Realm. This allowed those forces that had set their sights on the floating mountain to heave a sigh of relief. After all, the Fan family only wanted their resources, not their lives. They could still bear it. However, they soon became nervous. What did they mean by satisfied resources? Since the forces were different, the resources they possessed were definitely different as well. If the Fan family were to measure the resources of the strongest force, then wouldn't the smaller forces be wiped out by the Fan family? Instantly, countless forces became more and more nervous. However, those forces didn't dare to not prepare. If they wanted to be wiped out, then they didn't have to prepare anything. Most of them gathered all the resources they had and prepared to send them to the Fan family in exchange for the continued existence of their forces. After all, if the resources were gone, they could be earned back in the future. If they were all gone, then they would really be left with nothing. However, during this process, they discovered something that infuriated the other powers and the Fan family. Some people were actually attacked in the process of transporting resources to the Fan family, and the resources that originally belonged to the Fan family were stolen. No matter how secretive they were, this matter was still exposed. Naturally, the Fan family was enraged to have their resources stolen. A huge intelligence network immediately went into action, and soon found out who the robbers were. Then, Fangua personally took action and killed all the robbers, uprooting their forces. After several bloody massacres, no one dared to touch the resources anymore. At this time, Murong Yu once again appeared in Primeval College. The news of Murong Yu's powerful return and the Quasi-Saint's protection had already spread throughout Primeval College. While everyone was shocked, Qin Shou, one of the teachers of Primeval College, was feeling uneasy. "Is Teacher Qin Shou here?" On this day, just as Qin Shou was feeling uneasy, a voice rang in his ears. Qin Shou's face flashed with anger. Didn't he say he was going to go into seclusion? Why would anyone dare to disturb him? Just as he was about to get angry, Qin Shou's expression changed drastically. That was because he heard that the voice was familiar. It's Murong Yu. When Qin Shou recognized Murong Yu's voice, there were also Primeval College students outside Qin Shou's courtyard who noticed Murong Yu. What's he doing here? Is he close to Teacher Qin Shou? The first thing he did when he came back was to look for Qin Shou. Some people were puzzled. At this time, a student finally mustered up the courage to approach Murong Yu and say, "Murong Yu, Teacher Qin Shou has been in seclusion for several years." This person already possessed the strength of a heavenly venerate, but he still felt extremely pressured when facing Murong Yu. Although Murong Yu's strength was only at the peak of the Heavenly King stage, there were 2 quasi-saint level powerhouses standing by his side. A man and a woman. Yang Qin and a level 7 quasi-saint. As for the others, they were all guarding the holy city. When he heard the student's reply, a cold light flashed in Murong Yu's eyes. In the courtyard, Qin Shou inwardly let out a sigh of relief, thinking that Murong Yu would leave just like that. At the same time, many important people in Primeval College were also secretly watching Murong Yu. Does this kid have a special relationship with Qin Shou? Xiang Sungwu muttered to himself. However, in the next moment, he saw something that shocked him. Is he in seclusion? Murong Yu lightly punched out, then fiercely punched out, directly smashing into Qin Shou's courtyard. Boom! Countless formations in Qin Shou's courtyard were activated, exploding into balls of divine light that soared into the sky. In Primeval College, every building was protected by formations and restrictions. Moreover, they were set up by some of the Primeval College's powerhouses. Just like that, Murong Yu casually attacked. It couldn't shake the courtyard at all. When she saw that Murong Yu didn't destroy the courtyard, Yang Qin couldn't help but snort coldly. She took a step forward and punched out fiercely. Boom! The formations and restrictions that blocked Murong Yu's attack were destroyed by Yang Qin's punch. They couldn't even withstand a single blow. The moment the courtyard was destroyed, Qin Shou's figure leaped into the air and shot toward the depths of Primeval College. Still trying to escape? Yang Qin coldly shouted. She reached out her hand and grabbed at Qin Shou. Stop! Murong Yu, why aren't you stopping? What are you trying to do? At that moment, a few loud shouts came from the depths of Primeval College. At the same time, a few figures rushed out. However, Yang Qin didn't hear them at all. Her large hand broke through the sky and grabbed Qin Shou's neck. Then, she sealed his power and threw him at Murong Yu's feet. Murong Yu, do you know what you're doing now? How dare you attack a Primeval College teacher? You have no respect for the law and have no respect for your elders. Xiang Sungwu appeared and looked at Murong Yu gloomily. However, Murong Yu didn't seem to hear him. He stepped on Qin Shou's head. So what if you're a Primeval College teacher? If you provoke me, I'll step on you too. Chapter 1054. A Primeval College teacher was stepped on by a student and sunk deep into the ground. This scene stunned everyone except Murong Yu. Even Yang Qin and Quasi-Saint were stunned. They never thought that Murong Yu would be so arrogant. This was probably the first time in history that a student stepped on a teacher. The Primeval College students looked at Murong Yu in disbelief. Xiang Sungwu and the other Primeval College teachers and VIPs were furious. Murong Yu was not only stepping on Qin Shou's face, but also Primeval College's. If Murong Yu was allowed to continue, wouldn't Primeval College be stepped on by him? Murong Yu, I hope you can give me a reasonable explanation. Otherwise, I'll punish you severely today. Xiang Sungwu said in a deep voice. In fact, if there was one person in Primeval College who liked Murong Yu the most, it would be Xiang Sungwu. However, as the saying went, expecting better from someone, Murong Yu's arrogance made Xiang Sungwu angrier than anyone else. Elder Xiang, why don't you ask Qin Shou what he did to me? Murong Yu stomped Qin Shou deep into the ground, then turned to look at Xiang Sungwu and said calmly. Xiang Sungwu was stunned, then looked at Qin Shou, who was already deep underground. He immediately said in a deep voice, "Let him out first." At the same time, more Primeval College teachers and VIPs appeared out of thin air. They were all looking at Murong Yu with furrowed brows. They all felt that Murong Yu was too arrogant. Did he think that Primeval College would focus on training him so unscrupulously? If that was the case, then Primeval College would have to reconsider whether to continue training him. Some VIPs were deep in thought. If Murong Yu knew what they were thinking, he would probably laugh himself to death. Primeval College had been saying that they would focus on training Murong Yu, but they had not done anything substantial. Moreover, Murong Yu did not need their training to become a saint. Of course, if he had the resources of Primeval College, Murong Yu would take less time to become a saint. In reality, no one knew if he could become a saint. Even if Murong Yu had the He Tu and the Luo Shu, he couldn't be certain. After all, the Holy World did not welcome people from the realm. Wasn't there a case where someone was killed by someone from the Holy World after ascending? However, if Primeval College had the support of a saint, then he could take the opportunity to become a saint. With a flip of his leg, Morong Yu kicked Qin Shou up. Elder Xiang. Seniors, save me! When he saw Xiang Sung-woo and the others, Qin Shou, who had been scared half to death, immediately rushed to them in tears, crying for help. Seeing this, Xiang Sung-woo and the others could not help but frown. Their faces darkened. Qin Shou was a disgrace to Primeval College. He was worse than a student. However, he was a teacher of Primeval College after all. No matter what, he had to get to the bottom of this matter. Of course, if Qin Shou really did something out of line, Primeval College could not be biased. Qin Shou, what happened? Xiang Sungwoo asked in a low voice. Elder Xiang. It's Morong Yu. I have no enmity with him, but he wants to kill me. Please give me justice, Elder Xiang. Qin Shou prostrated himself in front of Xiang Xingyu and wept bitterly. It was a miserable sight. Morong Yu laughed coldly and did not say anything. He only looked at Qin Shou coldly. Qin Shou and the other quasi-saint stood on either side of Morong Yu to prevent the people of Primeval College from suddenly attacking Morong Yu. Xiang Sungwoo and the others did not believe Qin Shou's story. If Qin Shou really had no enmity with Morong Yu, then why did Morong Yu attack him and not the others? Qin Shou, don't speak without thinking. If we want to know, we can find out what you have done. Just treat them honestly, one of the important people of Primeval College said in a low voice. Qin Shou's heart sank. He knew that this important person was speaking the truth. However, if he told them the truth, he would definitely die. Even the Primordial Desolation Academy would not side with him. If Primeval College did not interfere with his strength, he would be easily killed by Morong Yu. He did not want to die, but he had no way to escape. Ha ha ha! Qin Shou suddenly burst into laughter. He then stood up from the ground and glared at Morong Yu with resentment. Morong Yu killed my brother in the heavenly chasm. This is an irreconcilable enmity. I will take revenge on him. This is a matter of course. Are you saying that he is allowed to kill, but not others? Xiang Sungwoo and the others were silent. What Qin Shou said was the truth. However, Morong Yu was definitely a student of Primeval College, and Qin Shou was a teacher of Primeval College. In terms of status, Qin Shou should not have attacked Morong Yu. Just as Teacher Beast said, revenge is a matter of course. Since he attacked me, it is natural for me to take revenge. Therefore, this matter is between me and Teacher Beast. Elder Xiang, I hope that Primeval College will not interfere in this matter. Morong Yu, if revenge breeds revenge, will there ever be an end to it? It is better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. I think we should just forget about this matter, Xiang Sungwoo said in a low voice. A cold light flashed in Morong Yu's eyes. He then smiled faintly and said, even if I let Qin Shou go this time, he will definitely continue to attack me in the future. I am a person who is most afraid of trouble. Usually, I want to nip it in the bud. Therefore, Qin Shou must die. Swoosh. Before Morong Yu's voice fell, Qin Shou's figure disappeared into thin air. When he reappeared, he was already in front of a student not far away. He reached out his hand and grabbed the Heavenly Emperor student's neck. When Morong Yu kicked Qin Shou away, Xiang Sungwoo had already released the seal on his power. After all, Yang Qin had only casually sealed it. Otherwise, with Xiang Sungwoo's peak late-stage heavenly venerable strength, he would not be able to release the seal. Seeing that Qin Shou had grabbed the student, Xiang Sungwoo and the rest were immediately shocked and shouted angrily, Qin Shou, what are you doing? Qin Shou's face was ferocious. Primeval College must guarantee that Morong Yu will not attack me. At least guarantee my safety in Primeval College. Otherwise, he will definitely die. Taking a hostage? Morong Yu laughed, feeling that things had suddenly become much more interesting. Let go of the student and you can leave Primeval College. I will also guarantee that Murong Yu will not attack you in Primeval College, Xiang Sungwu said in a low voice, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. As a teacher of Primeval College, Qin Shou's behavior was too vile. In fact, Primeval College's staff was complicated, and there should be many scum like Qin Shou. It's also time to clean up the Primeval College's teaching staff. Xiang Sungwu and the rest of the Primeval College's bigwigs thought at the same time. Your guarantee is useless. I need Murong Yu's guarantee. Qin Shou looked at Murong Yu with a ferocious expression. At the same time, he exerted force with his hand, suppressing the Heavenly Emperor's student until he almost exploded. Whoosh! Countless people's gazes landed on Murong Yu. Many people thought that Murong Yu would definitely not agree. Because once Qin Shou left, it would be difficult to find him in the future. Moreover, that student had nothing to do with Murong Yu. Would Murong Yu care about his life? Murong Yu smiled faintly and said, I agree. Qin Shou, you can leave now. However, don't ever run into me again. Otherwise, you will die without a doubt. Murong Yu let Qin Shou go so easily? He didn't care about Primeval College's reputation and directly stepped on Qin Shou, but he gave up on killing Qin Shou for a student who has nothing to do with him. It seems that Murong Yu is not a cold-blooded person. He is quite humane. In an instant, the way everyone looked at Murong Yu changed. As for the Heavenly Emperor whose neck was being held by Qin Shou, his eyes were filled with gratitude. Murong Yu snickered in his heart. This Qin Shou is too stupid. Isn't he helping himself? He was thinking of a chance to perform at Primeval College and increase his prestige. Bring me to the teleportation portal. Qin Shou looked at Xiang Sungwu and said with a ferocious expression. Xiang Sungwu hesitated for a moment, and Qin Shou exerted force with his hand. A terrifying force exploded, almost crushing the Heavenly Emperor's student. Holy Lord, I can kill Qin Shou directly, but I can't get to that student. Do you want me to do it? Yang Qin's voice suddenly sounded in Murong Yu's mind. Not for now. Just take him down the moment he enters the teleportation portal. Murong Yu said calmly. However, his eyes shone brightly. Immediately, Xiang Sungwu and the others brought Qin Shou to the teleportation portal. However, halfway there, Qin Shou suddenly stopped. Open a wormhole immediately. I want to leave the Eldritch continent. Xiang Sungwu frowned slightly. Killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Qin Shou's actions had angered him. If Qin Shou didn't have a hostage, he definitely would have attacked. Although they were all peak heavenly venerables, there was still a difference in strength. What a good idea! A wormhole to leave the Eldritch continent directly. This way, even if Murong Yu wants to kill him, it won't be easy. Someone sneered in their heart. Because Qin Shou was injured and held hostage, Xiang Sungwu still brought Qin Shou to the depths of Primeval College. A wormhole to another continent had already been opened. As a teacher of Primeval College, Qin Shou naturally knew that Primeval College had a wormhole. Therefore, Xiang Sungwu couldn't use the excuse that there was no wormhole to refuse. Haha, Murong Yu, one day you'll die at my hands. Qin Shou grabbed the Heavenly Emperor student and soared into the air, charging toward the wormhole. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.